This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live, where I just noticed that's my old intro because I changed it not that long ago, where it's not Dana Loesch doming the troll when Charlie Kirk pops up and says sexual anarchy. It's actually Taylor Schabusiness doming the troll when Charlie Kirk pops up and says sexual anarchy. I got something special for you guys here at the top of the stream. Like, we're hitting it perfect timing. Curiouser, Warlord, good evening. Curiouser, you're going to enjoy this. This is something that, right up your alley. Happening at about 8:13 p.m. A phenomenon that apparently only happens twice a year. We're going to go to New York for this. Apparently it's the Trump being found guilty. No, that's not the phenomenon I'm talking about. That might happen 2 or 3, 4 times in a year. Probably not this year. Probably just once this year. As soon as tomorrow. We could get the verdict as soon as tomorrow. Jury expected to be deliberating on Wednesday. We will pop on and go live. I've already got the thumbnail ready to go for the Trump verdict. But we expect sometime this week. I don't think the jury is going to take very long. I think this is a pretty open and shut case. And we aren't going to have to wait that long for a verdict. That's just my opinion, though. Tonight on the show, we're going to talk about the crying mom who took TikTok, Facebook, Instagram by storm. I posted it because it was going viral just a few days ago. This woman crying over making her own birthday cake so her kids, she's a single mom, so her kids could sing happy birthday to her. I was going to make my own birthday cake, however, Curiouser made a spectacular chocolate raspberry cheesecake. And goddamn, there was like, she sat it down. I'm like, you had to have used 4 things of cream cheese to make that. It's fucking huge. And she's like, well, that's what it called for. Justin, good evening. Like, you could have half the recipe. If you like crime stories, tonight's the show for you. We're going to watch a lot of them. A teacher in Santa Ana accused of mocking a student. An SUV exploded in a parking lot. A famous activist swept up in a drug bust in Staten Island. Elderly man was pickpocketed outside of a grocery store. No half-assing cheesecake indeed, and you did not half-ass it. Sky Comet, good evening, welcome. Here's your meme of the day. U.S. media. This is the most important election of our lives. The election. We're going to be heading to your neck of the woods, Sky Comet. Apparently there has been an explosion in Youngstown, Ohio. Earlier today. Not sure if there is injuries or deaths. We'll find out shortly. Clinically, good evening. As I said, I got something special for you guys. We're apparently going to witness what is called Manhattan Hinge. This happens twice a year. This is a live shot in New York City. Yep, live shot. The sun sets directly between the skyline, between the skyscrapers. It does look cloudy. Dustin says it'll be better on Wednesday. Apparently, photographers, news gathered today. Yeah, it does look very overcast. So unfortunately, the people of New York not getting the spectacle that they were expecting tonight. You can see the crowd gathered to witness the event. The AP says it happens at about 8:13 p.m., so about 8 minutes from now. Oh, okay, cool. So, like, it's about 4 days in total that the sun is framed by the Manhattan skyline. It still looks kind of neat. Okay, so 2 days, one time and then 2 days. I guess it's like 180 days from now. That would probably make sense. So towards the end of November, December, something like that. I don't know. I'm bad at math. Whatever 180 days from now is.
75% chance of winning, and then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
You can see the sun right there, kissing the horizon. Torchikin. Oh, goddamn! I fucked that one up, didn't I? Torch. Is that good? Can I call you Torch? Welcome. You'll give me a phonetical pronunciation, I'll do my best. But one of the things I'm known for. Torchy! Yes! Perfect. Welcome in, Torchy. We're currently viewing the Manhattan Hinge, is what they call it. This is a live shot where the New York City skyline frames the sunset. The AP says we've got about 6 more minutes. Looks like it's peeking out from the clouds right now. Like that's the bottom of the cloud. We're actually seeing the sun. This could look really cool. I had that video, and I've got to get back to 5 nights a week just because we've got too much shit to talk about. I don't even know, was that a comment or something that they saw? A lot of conspiracy theorists on Twitter talking about like they didn't even know some comet was going to pass by us. And I'm like, surely they fucking knew. Those eggheads with the telescopes know everything going on. Got all kinds of crazy footage we're going to watch tonight. There was a shootout over a Ferrari, and I think we've got the camera of it. A man was accused in a TikTok assault. He is speaking out, giving a interview. CBS New York. A Bronx woman was attacked by a man who was following her. Apparently some bystanders helped her out. Louisiana cops were on the hunt for murder suspects. They ended up finding them hiding behind a Dollar General dumpster. Man that murdered a bicyclist. I wonder if this is the one that we saw. I don't think it's the one that we saw in Vegas. Where they fucking plowed that dude down. A man who murdered a bicyclist is begging for mercy. That is really fucking pretty. Sorry, I'm getting down to business and running down, what we're going to talk about on the show. Probably just enjoy the moment. I mean, we should get high. It was a perfect time if you partake upon the marijuana, or if you have a drink of choice. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. Tadpole, good evening. Lost count at 10. I couldn't tell you because, I pack a bowl. I smoke on and off all through the day. Pretty well on all throughout the day. I feel like maybe it's just the angle that the AP photographer is at, but I feel like maybe tomorrow it would be more centered between the buildings. Looks like there's another cloud has moved in, and it's gone under a cloud. There for just a little bit. That was fucking gorgeous. Yeah, it's much like the perpetual stew that medieval inns would have. I have a perpetual bowl going. I'm fascinated by the perpetual stew. Do you guys know about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about it? Like, apparently if you kept it under or over 240 degrees or something like that. That sounds absurdly high. You could just keep the stew going for weeks, months at a time, years, and they would just keep adding to it. It's exactly 8:13 now. Well, as long as you kept it above that certain temperature, it would keep bacteria from forming. It would never spoil or anything. And it'd just be a stew of, whatever the fuck they had on hand. But you could come in, you get your libations and you could have a bowl of stew. It was cool while it lasted, but I feel like we should be hitting the peak of it right now. And we unfortunately are missing it because of a damn cloud. Sparkles, good evening. You would want some of that stew. Apparently the libertarians are upset. The reason they were trying to make sure that Chase Owens did not receive the nomination is because he's too woke for them. Chase Oliver, thank you. Owens, Oliver, same difference. Apparently, he wore a mask during COVID. He marched with the BLM protests. And he supports gay rights. So that's too woke for the libertarians, even though all three of those positions don't seem outside of the realm. Like, wearing a mask because you're protecting yourself from a viral infection doesn't seem at odds with libertarian principles. Marching with BLM, that seems like that would go with libertarian principles. Being pro-gay rights should be libertarian principles. So I put, after Curiouser and I watched the Lady Gaga Chromatica Ball. That was what I did for my birthday. And then after she left after we did the cheesecake and everything, I just put a bunch of, like I was going to do with you guys and watch on stream, I put like a bunch of my favorite TV shows on a playlist. I fell asleep to it, woke up in the middle of the night, and watched it for another 3 or 4 hours. One of them was an episode of Space Ghost, and they had Emerald Lagasse on. And Zorak kept saying, "I want the bones when you're done. Make a broth later." He kept asking for the bones. They kept telling him, "Yes, you can have the bones." Fucking love Space Ghost. I know, it was so good. Gaga was excellent. I enjoyed it. Was it like not an artist that Curiouser is particularly, gaga about? But she likes live concerts. It had just debuted on HBO. I love Lady Gaga. So that's what I wanted to watch for my birthday, and Curiouser watched it with me. I don't know what I don't know what I would have picked, all the fucking concert, because we just watched Michael Jackson, the Thriller documentary the other day. And I've watched like 3 or 4 different Michael Jackson concerts in the last year, so picking MJ wouldn't have been a thing. A little MJ'd out right now. So I don't know what I would have watched. Lady Gaga was perfect. It just came out on Friday. As I said, the universe gave me things for my birthday. Gave me a couple different wrestling shows. Gave me a new South Park special. Gave me Lady Gaga. I think there was something else that came out over the weekend that I was also excited for. Don't even remember now. I had so much bountiful gifts. I bring you bountiful news stories tonight. Yes, that documentary was great. That just came out on Showtime in the fall. I think it's called like the Thriller 40th Anniversary. I think that's just the name of Thriller 40th Anniversary. Ah, yes, the Libertarian Convention was given to me for content. Could possibly be able to get Angela McCurdle on for an interview. I would love it. The interview we watched of her on News Nation. I think it was News Nation. It might have been Scripps, but I think it was News Nation. They fucking skewered her. Like, they weren't nice to her at all. I'll be very nice to her. It'll be a very courteous interview. Not because I have a crush, but because I am a professional. Oh, also, Curiouser got me this t-shirt. With like the new A Perfect Circle artwork. I love it. I love that it's a different color than my black one. So I had a fantastic birthday. Couldn't have asked for a better birthday. My sushi, mwah, excellent. I can't even remember what all I got. Some kind of one was a shrimp, and oh god, it was so good. Shrimp tempura with like the crunchies and the spicy aioli on top, so fucking good. Another one was crab, and it was excellent. My least favorite was the spicy tuna, because there wasn't really a spice to it other than like a little jalapeno on top of it. But sushi, excellent. You know what else is excellent? Finding out what that news be doing. Starting off tonight in Youngstown, Ohio, where we have multiple people injured.
That city.
Want to get right to KDK's Barry Pintar, who is there talking to people. Barry, what are you hearing?
Yeah, it's a very active situation here in Youngstown. It was just about 3 hours ago, right around 3 p.m., that literally the entire building behind me blew out. Let me give you a close look. I'm going to have Damien zoom right in so you can look right into this building. What you're looking at is a Chase Bank at the bottom.
But it's not a pickle. It's not pickled.
Building. As you can see, that entire first floor is blown out. Now,
I bet.
You'll notice above that, that is a 13-story building. That is an apartment building where people were living at the time. We also have our drone team here, the KDK drone team. Let's take that video because you'll be able to see from the air exactly what a blowout it is. Notice the sidewalk. Notice all of the windows are gone. Notice that
I don't think we know. Once again, this is news footage within the last couple of hours. This was at 6 o'clock. So 2.5 hours ago is when this aired. So this happened at 3 o'clock this afternoon in Youngstown, Ohio. It is a bank on the bottom, but this looks like when you see something like this, you would think it's a gas line explosion. My first thought is not a bomb, because clearly from the way it's laid out, the bomb would had to have been inside. And usually when you see acts of terrorism like that, you'll see them parked outside of the building, and it will take out one chunk. This clearly looks like it came from inside the building.
emergency personnel are still there. Okay, so what is the situation and what do we think happened? According to our sister station, our CBS station here, it is our understanding that they were doing construction in the basement. The construction workers heard a hissing sound, smelled gas.
Yep, they struck a line
out of the building, and at that point, the explosion happened. The explosion was so powerful that it was apparently felt and heard all over this entire downtown area. What you're looking at is Federal Street there, where it actually occurred. There are apartment buildings nearby. There are office buildings nearby. There is a hotel right across the street. Now, how is everyone doing? The good news, no fatalities reported at this time. Unfortunately, the bad news, several people were transported to the hospital via ambulances. We don't have updates at that point. But at this moment, what I'd like you to do is listen to some of those construction workers who were actually on the site during that explosion.
I'm just glad everybody got out. And I hope everybody that didn't get out, they're safe or they're not hurt.
A lot of emotions right now because one of my friends was in the bank across the street and he went in to grab people, and I don't know, haven't seen him since.
Are you on me? All right, so here's
we're on
the
you.
bad news. We're literally getting live updates as I'm talking to you here. We now know that 7 people were taken to the hospital. Tragically, at this point, 1 person is unaccounted for. Now, we were the first Pittsburgh news stations to arrive on the scene, and when we got here, we were still hearing sirens going, and they have every single downtown street blocked off by city dump trucks so people can't come in. As a matter of fact, there were some people standing a little closer than we were, and the policeman actually came up to them and asked them to move because they're not sure of the structure of the building. So where does that leave us now? At this point, we know the bomb has been called out. We do know that structural engineers have been called out. This will be a very active, fluid situation as there are emergency vehicles everywhere. Now, we certainly have you covered here. My colleague, Jennifer Barrasso.
That building's going to have to come down. It's going to have to be demolished. I don't think there's any saving it.
Is on her way here. We are going to keep you updated online and on air with continuing coverage because, look, Megan and Ken, as we know, as Pittsburghers, we have experienced some tragic explosion events. This is in the middle of downtown Youngstown, surrounded by buildings. Bomb squads are here. Structural engineers are here. We don't know what will happen next. But very active. We will keep you posted, and the minute we hear anything else, we will report back in. In the meantime, live in Youngstown, Ohio, Barry Pintar, KDK TV News. Back to you guys.
Yeah, that's who my heart goes out to with that story. Holy shit. The people who lived in that apartment building. I feel sorry for them, because finding a place to live is gonna be a bitch, because that place is gonna come down. They're gonna be lucky if they're allowed to go in and get shit out of it. Because it may, like at this point, bringing crews in to evaluate, bringing structural engineers in, is basically to see if they let people go in to see if they can get their shit. And I'd say probably not. Because it's probably a danger to collapse at any time. Speaking of collapsing, the defense in Donald Trump's fraud case apparently collapsed during closing arguments today. Tensions flared between the judge and the defense, but before we get to that, Coca-Cola, welcome in, my friend. Before we get to the fireworks in the courtroom, actor Robert De Niro apparently got into it with people on the street outside of the courthouse.
Neighborhood, downtown New York City. I grew up here and feel at home in these streets. I feel comfortable. The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of the city was like a ghost town.
Who are you, Rudy?
We would not allow terrorists to change our way of life. And we started the Tribeca Festival to bring people back. I love this city. I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists. I owe this city a lot.
De Niro was good in his day.
It's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street, because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here.
We kind of lives there too.
To tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot, a two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth.
Going by the name Barron.
A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating.
Bloom.
We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture. But not
Lenny,
a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that.
Lenny, what the fuck is going on in Massachusetts? Why you guys keep having stabbings? There was a stabbing at the AMC. There was a stabbing at the Mickey D's. People all stabby up in Massachusetts.
Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course. But around the country, people who didn't know him,
Minty,
as we did, started to support him. They bought into his bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault, and who, just a couple of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse.
Massachusetts.
Somehow he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use
Well, this is a Biden campaign ad?
anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
Come on, man.
But it's a coward's violence. You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way. He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him by making a suggestion, an inference. And his gang grovels and follows his obvious order. It's no surprise that the murder rate and other violent crimes peaked under Trump and are falling under Biden. And now he's promising to use our own military to attack U.S. citizens. That's the tyrant. That's the tyrant he's telling us he'll be. And believe me, he means it.
Wait for it, because apparently he gets into it with the crowd, Battle of Possum. Good evening.
2016, it was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators. With Trump, we have a second chance. And no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and for all. We don't want to wake up after the election saying, what, again? My God, what the hell have we done? We can't have that happen again. Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government.
Yesterday was my birthday.
President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you.
He is hot.
Wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House...
These were both police officers that were at the Capitol on January 6th. They were Capitol police officers. That dude's Michael Fanone, and I forget what this guy's name is. Both of them testified with the January 6th committee. They're both former officers now. That's why they're... This is apparently a political ad for Joe Biden. Thank you, Coke.
You can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I
think he got beat in the primary, Lenny.
He will never leave. He will never leave.
The taller guy was running for Congress, but I think he got beat.
Will never.
I think he got beat by AIPAC money, if I remember correctly. But you guys can check me on that.
What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country?
DJ Dub D.
I'm not leaving. I'm dictator for life. I hope this new ad campaign reaches outside the bubble to remind supporters of what a danger he is to our lives. This is not a threat. This is a reality. And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice. On January 6th, while Republican lawmakers despicably tried to keep the loser Trump...
Come on, fight the crowd. That's what I came for.
...in the White House, and Trump-inspired insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, brave men and women from law enforcement put their lives on the line to defend this country. Our democracy. They are the true heroes. These guys are the true heroes. They stood and put their lives on the line for these lowlives, for Trump.
They lied under oath.
Is that David Lee Roth behind them?
They lied under oath. Right. Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
Oh, here we go.
Excuse me?
Those two traitors behind behind you.
They lied under oath?
That's right.
What are you saying?
They're traitors.
They're traitors. You gotta, I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you. They stood there, they didn't have to. And there were other ones in there who probably were in with them a little bit too, and they found a way to get around. Not these guys. They stood there and fought. For us, for you. For you.
Well, they weren't fighting for me.
No, they fought for you, buddy. You're able to stand right here now.
Master Tex, good evening.
Heroes. I'm honored to be with these two heroes today, from former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn and former Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone.
I let a goose in. They might have been doing that on purpose to drown him out.
I came here today to remind Americans of what Donald Trump is capable of. And the violence that he unleashed on all.
I feel like he should be like a character on The Walking Dead.
2021.
I'm liking this guy's mustache.
The DC police officer serving the citizens.
I'm sorry, Fanone. That was not as eventful as what I was led to believe by our mainstream media. I thought De Niro was going to go De Niro all over their asses. But no. Shelly, good evening. So glad to see you. I'm not high enough for this shit. So, as I mentioned, the jury is expected to deliberate come tomorrow. Oh, was there more of it, Tadpole? Jury is expected to deliberate sometime tomorrow. We could get a verdict as soon as tomorrow evening, possibly Thursday. We are on Trump verdict watch come tomorrow. Closing arguments happened earlier today.
To the News Hour. In New York City today, both the prosecution and the defense made their final case to jurors in the criminal hush money trial of former President Donald Trump.
Prosecutors reiterated the allegation that Donald Trump falsified business records to conceal news of an alleged affair that could have harmed his chances of becoming president. For their part, Mr. Trump's defense team argued the charges are baseless, that no laws were broken, and that the prosecution's case relies on the testimony of an untrustworthy witness. William Brangham has been following the trial from New York.
They've got a tape of him.
William, per New York law, the defense offered its closing arguments first, and Donald Trump's team has long argued that these charges are baseless. Overall, how did they try to persuade the jury to vote not guilty?
Jeff, Trump's lead lawyer, Todd Blanche, leaned into what you just referred to before, which is that while we all call this the hush money case, it's really about this falsification of business records that are meant to cover up the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels that was made by Michael Cohen. And Todd Blanche really leaned into that, telling jurors, this is not a hush money case. This is a paper case. And he argued that Donald Trump had nothing to do with creating any of that paper. That's the 34 charges here that are 34 different invoices, ledgers, checks, and check stubs that are the central to this case. And Blanche argued there's no clear evidence that Donald Trump created those, orchestrated those, knew anything
There
about
is
those.
a phone call
that he did
that Cohen taped
to conceal anything.
It is clearly Trump.
That he tried to do that to win an election. He argued that the National Enquirer scheme, this whole catch and kill scheme that was set up back in 2016, was not illegal, that NDAs, these non-disclosure agreements, aren't illegal. There's nothing wrong about them, in essence, and that they're quite common. He also stressed, and this was a key part of what he had to say, is that the central witnesses here, Stormy Daniels partly, but Michael Cohen principally, simply cannot be trusted, and that they had personal and financial reasons to make up stories about Donald Trump and his alleged scheme and all of this.
Well, tell us more about that, William, because Michael Cohen is clearly the prosecution's key witness here. How did Mr. Blanche try to undercut his testimony in particular?
Blanche spent a good deal of his time trying to do this and illustrated a whole series of examples of Michael Cohen lying, both in the past and allegedly on the stand in this particular case. And the critical part of this is that there are cases where Michael Cohen, in this case, is the only one testifying to the centrality of Donald Trump's role in this alleged scheme. So giving jurors a reason to doubt Michael Cohen is critical. And so that was a huge part of his closing today. Several times Blanche would bring up examples of Cohen allegedly lying and then punctuate that by saying that was a lie. And Blanche actually gave Cohen his own special title for not telling the truth. He said, you know how people call Tom Brady the GOAT, the greatest of all time? Michael Cohen is the GLOAT, the greatest liar of all time.
Well, as we said this morning,
that was a good line.
It was the prosecution's turn. Give us a sense of how they have tried to recast their case to the jury.
Recast is the right word, Jeff. While the defense focused on the financial records and how you can't trust Michael Cohen, prosecutor Josh Steinglass quickly sketched out a much broader focus that he wants the jury to be thinking about. And that is how these efforts back in 2016, the catch and kill scheme with the National Enquirer, and then separately with Stormy Daniels and the alleged cover-up of that those were all an effort to basically create a fraud on the American voting public, that hush money payments deprived voters of critical information that the prosecutors argue could have changed the course of that election. Again, that is not what Trump is charged with here. He's charged with these falsification of records, and Steinglass did start getting into the granular detail of those today, but prosecutors want jurors to see this first and foremost as an improper, illegal effort to protect then candidate Trump and now later protect President Trump.
And William, with the defense calling Michael...
That could be the whole thing. If it comes down to, the prosecutors are trying to prove that it was for campaign purposes, and the jury's like, oh, no, it wasn't for that reason. He totally did everything. Because, they've got him dead to rights. So if he gets off, it's just a technicality like that, well, we don't think he did it for the purposes of the campaign. And that was the case that the prosecution was trying to prove.
Cohen, the greatest liar of all time. How did the prosecution try to counter that narrative today?
That's right. Steinglass spent a lot of time trying to do Michael Cohen image rehabilitation today. He acknowledged,
yes, my beer in a Steinglass.
Yes, he pled guilty to lots of lies, but that a lot of his evidence was backed up by cell phone data or other documentary evidence. In a particularly cutting moment, Steinglass said, and this I take it is a common line that prosecutors use, is he said, we, the prosecutors, didn't choose Michael Cohen. We didn't pick him up at the, quote, witness store. The defendant, Donald Trump, chose him as his fixer. I mean, Steinglass noted that Trump's team has said
the jerk store called. They're running out of you.
Why didn't he make up better stories? Why didn't he tell a better lie that said Trump told Michael Cohen in some meeting, let's definitely cook up the books? Steinglass said he didn't say those things. Why? Because he limited himself to what actually happened. And so Steinglass argued that after 2018, Cohen started telling the truth, and that has not changed.
That could be a likely scenario, DJ Dub.
Let's talk about the federal classified documents case against Donald Trump, because the special counsel, Jack Smith, his office was just denied a request for a gag order on Donald Trump following an extraordinary allegation that Donald Trump made. Bring us up to speed on that.
Again, Jeff, extraordinary is absolutely the right word. That's because last week, Donald Trump accused President Biden of sending FBI agents to his home with the intent to assassinate him. This all goes back to the execution of the search warrant that the FBI did looking for those classified documents 2 years ago. And as we know, they found many, many classified documents at Trump's home. There were some documents that were recently unsealed this week, and in them, Trump seized on language that was basically boilerplate language about how the FBI executes these types of search warrants. And even though they are completely routine, basic, sort of boilerplate language, Trump exaggerated what happened. And he sent out a fundraising email. I want to put this up. It says, Biden's DOJ was authorized to shoot me. You know, they're just itching to do the unthinkable. Joe Biden was locked and loaded, ready to take me out and put my family in danger. Again, there is no evidence that any of that was true. Special counsel Jack Smith asked for a gag order.
And like this kind of rhetoric, there are fucking crazy ass people out there that hate Trump that might do fucking something stupid. And the Trump people could totally use that to make a martyr out of him. This is like getting ramped up too much. I hate to see, like, we're at a boiling point right now in this country. I feel like it's gonna be another one of those summer times. I would like to see more anti-police protests, but apparently the horrendous stories we've been covering here on the stream haven't even penetrated the news. Quesadilla, good evening. Yeah, they coordinated for when he would be in a completely different state. I hope it's not a Civil War Sky Comic, because, like, failed states never really work out. And that's one of the reasons why I'm an institutionalist, is, like, the alternative to having a system is having, like, brute force roving gangs of militias and shit. I don't really want that. I don't want to live in a totalitarian state either. I want to live in a socialistic, democratic, utopia where we're just the right balance of rights and not too many laws. You can pretty much do whatever you want if you're not harming people. That's where I agree with libertarians. They raided the wrong house, put a baby in the hospital. We watched the one that I thought was going to be a tipping point was when they shot the airman in Florida. Legal gun owner, came to the door with it pointed down, pointed inside, as he has every right to do. And the cops shot him dead. They weren't even at the right apartment. We're gonna get to some. I've got a cop story that's gonna piss you off. Don't worry, but we'll get there. I gotta get some foreign affairs in that's gonna piss you off first. The White House and the State Department are pressing for answers from the IDF following a strike on a refugee camp in Rafah.
An Israeli strike in the southern city in Gaza of Rafah has gained international outrage. WENY Washington correspondent Rachel Knapp joins us live this evening. Rachel, how is the U.S. responding to this?
Good evening, Renata. The State Department says they're horrified to see some of the videos and images coming out of that refugee camp. They also say that they're waiting for a more final report from the Israeli military, not only on that strike, but also what led up to that blaze in that refugee camp. Now, the Israeli government says that despite their efforts to minimize civilian casualties during the strike, they say the fire that broke out in the camp was unexpected and unintended. The Israeli Defense Forces posted on social media today that the targeted strike in Rafah Rafah was about 1.7 kilometers, which is a little bit more than a mile, away from the humanitarian area. The State Department spokesperson said today that they have made it clear in regards to Rafah that they do not want to see a major military offensive there because of the concern on civilian harm and casualties. The State Department also adds that Hamas needs to stop hiding behind civilians. They also say that there are a lot of questions they're hoping to get answered from the Israeli military about the recent strike that ignited that campfire.
Israel has said that it might have been that there was a Hamas ammo dump near the area where they took the strike, which, as I said, they claim was 1.7 kilometers outside the area where they had told civilians to move. That's a very important factual question that needs to be answered when it comes to making these sort of assessments. So what we are pressing the government of Israel to do is to conduct an investigation, present those facts publicly, so we, along with the rest of the world, can make the kind of assessments that we need to be able to do.
Now, the IDF also says that they are still investigating this strike that led to that fire in the camp. Now, the UN Secretary General posted on social media shortly after that airstrike condemning Israel's attacks on Rafah, saying that there's, quote, no safe place in Gaza, end quote. Renata, back to you.
You remember that pier they set up to get aid in because Israel keeps attacking aid trucks and Israeli civilians are blocking and destroying aid before it can get to Gazans? Yeah, apparently I didn't even know it had been completed, and I don't even think it had been completed. But it is now inoperable after a severe storm damaged it.
Is about May 17th was first day of operations. By the time we get to June 5th, which may be the time frame you're talking about, a week from now when repairs are going in, we may have eaten up already the first month of operations in what was foreseen as a 3-month operation. So is it giving pause to the department that you may have to look at other alternatives via other sea routes into Israel or elsewhere into Gaza to supplement all this aid that is currently being... I understand how it's all being accumulated on the Benavides, but I mean, other than that, because otherwise now we're going to be 1 month into this without full operational capability.
So a lot there. As you might remember, even though there are folks that do give out timelines on how long certain things are supposed to operate, we did not put a timeline on how long the temporary pier could operate. We said that approximately in this window is when we have that time frame. But again, we didn't put an end date on this. So we're going to continue to operate this temporary pier for as long as we can. In terms of other routes or ways for the aid to get in, what you're asking is, because of this delay, like how will other aid get in? And I think, you know, I sort of spoke to this, but that's what USAID is trying to figure out, other ways for the aid that's already on Cyprus. If it's land routes or other ways for it to get in, we're working through that. And you have to remember, it's not just USAID, it's other NGOs, other partners, other countries who are invested in sending aid to Cyprus. Some of that aid will be unloaded onto some of our vessels, so it's pre-positioned, and so when the temporary pier is re-anchored back onto the shore, we're pretty much ready to roll off right away. But that's something that USAID is working through with other partners, and I don't have a better sense for you. Idris, and then I'll go to the back, and then we'll wrap.
Piece that drifted away earlier today. The
piece that drifted away.
Or Israel.
I believe it was off the coast of Gaza, and it was recovered.
And then how did anyone have to come off the pier? How did you remove it without getting on shore, I guess?
It didn't. I believe it didn't. It was still in the water, so it was able to be.
Never actually got moored on the.
Not to my knowledge. Yeah, in the back. Yeah.
Sabrina, after what's happened on the weekend on Rafah, so many reports we heard and read that they're talking about the U.S. red line in Rafah. So my question is, did the Secretary Austin outline what the red line is during his calls with the Israeli counterparts or any DoD officials with the Israeli officials, and did they specify where or what the red line is?
Taking that question.
Yeah, I don't have anything to comment on
from the
lines.
pier.
What I can tell you is we've been very clear when it comes to operations within Rafah. We do not support, or we've voiced our concerns.
3 soldiers were injured, 1 critically.
Right now, as I've said, from here,
a few days back,
our assessment right now is it's still limited. Yes, they are maneuvering within Rafah.
The stupid pier
to make some headway further in, but we still believe it's limited in scale.
Suffered a sprained ankle and a back injury. One was in critical condition at this pier. We're gonna have to take a break over on Twitch. When we come back, the child of a KKK leader has come out as trans. We're gonna hear that interview. The Pope is apologizing for using a slur to refer to gay men, which... Did he say what I think he said? No charges for a cop that killed a Michigan man. A murder suspect is saying that he did not mean to run over a bicyclist. Louisiana cops found a couple of murder suspects behind a dumpster at the Dollar General. A man accused in a TikTok assault in New York is giving an interview. We got wild video of a shootout involving a attempted Ferrari theft. A home invasion scheme was foiled in Whittier County in California. I think it's in California. A Santa Ana teacher caught on video mocking a student. We're going to talk about the crying mom who made a birthday cake for herself so her kids could sing happy birthday to her. I did not cry over a birthday cake that I made for myself. We're going to talk about that, all that, and a lot freaking more. We're going to take 3 minutes, get all that out of the way. That way nobody misses any content. We'll see you in just a second here on the Troll Patrol live. For those of you who are subbed, I got to take a pee-pee break, so I'll be back in like a minute. It wasn't too bad. I was right back. Get a little high. I'm really looking forward to this this KKK, the child of a KKK leader, coming out as trans. Hell yeah, this is the perfect story. Kick off Pride Month here in a couple of days. I always, I love going all out for holidays and shit, so I've got a whole new opening, whole new layout for Pride Month. Got a whole Pride logo for the Troll Patrol. I wasn't around for Christmas this year. I have awesome Christmas graphics. I don't put the Christmas decorations up until 2 weeks out. I'm strict about it. I want to keep Christmas in December. There are perfectly good holidays before Christmas that it keeps encroaching on. I am a keep Christmas in December kind of guy. I'm totally I'm not anti-Christmas. Don't get me wrong. I've got Christmas music that I've got a Christmas playlist on Spotify. I've got a whole folder of Christmas music that I throw in with my normal Han Fixer. What is up, my friend? What do you mean by troll leftists? Of course, Han quoting the famous line from They Live by Roddy Piper. No, I'm not at Christmas in July. Keep that in December. I get down on the Christmas decorations. I jammed to some Christmas music, but I want it to all be in December. I don't want to have to deal with it any other month, especially not in October. Definitely don't want to hear that shit in October. We've got Halloween. I'm focused on Han here. What I don't understand what do you think I've said that's stupid? I think you coming in here acting like a macho man, you deserve a titty slap.
A titty slap! Come on now.
Right, do you want to mouth off? You can call in, my brother. You can hop in the Discord. We'll make it happen if you've got something to say. You just want to kick back and watch the show. I would recommend getting high. Yeah, that's the only thing. Just don't throw out any slurs, and we're cool. You can say whatever the fuck you want to me. I like it when people rip on me. It's one of my favorite things. But I like it when people are witty about it. One thing I've learned about the Destiny fans. They are fucking weirdos that take themselves way too seriously. Dorchy, I'm not real sure. We got a guy in here wanting to talk some shit, so I was just letting him know I'm down. I love to talk some shit. But we're probably gonna do the news. That's what's gonna happen. Just know, Han, around here we like to kick authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
The child of a KKK leader is giving an interview. Libertad, good evening. I do believe this is the first time I've seen you. Respect my authority. I fucking love Cartman. What a hilarious character. The child of an ex-KKK leader is reflecting on their upbringing now that they have come out as trans. Or Derek Black, the child of a former Ku Klux Klan leader.
Was something that I look back on and
Hold
I
on,
see yes, I
didn't get the whole prologue there. Describe their journey in denouncing their parents' ideology. That is the interview you're getting ready to see.
was something that I look back on and I see yes, I see why it felt like there wasn't a different world, and it almost didn't feel like a choice. It felt like this is the path that was laid out before I was born. And it felt like something that I was asking to be involved in. And I look back on it and I sort of recognize the level of pressure and identity and being a part of their lives, being a part of their movement. Belief can feel like something that we work really hard to believe, and that we try to understand ourselves and think that we're moral and right, and everybody sees themselves as the person who's not the villain in a scenario. If you grow up in an ideology and you firmly believe it, it's probably the case that you were just trying to be a member of the community, and it felt sort of shattering just to realize that, you know, I'd worked so hard to think otherwise. And it was clear, even that first semester at New College, when people I was making these deep relationships with were telling me about their own experiences of discrimination without knowing this movement that I came from. And I started even hearing direct overlaps between members of my movement and how they had terrified people I was deeply close to. And I had that feeling of misunderstanding, or is there some way I can bridge this, or is there some way, you know, I care about you deeply, and yet I had to resolve in myself that yes, those people would never understand you, they would never be close to you, but I know you, and I'm just going to try to keep these two worlds separate and split myself into them as long as possible. And so it just became intolerable. Like I couldn't manage the sort of split that was going on.
Also came out as transgender in their memoir, The Klansman's Son.
I've had trans thoughts throughout my life. Like as a little kid, I wanted to present in feminine ways and got sort of critiqued by my family and told you're not allowed to do that, and learned younger than I can even fully remember being chastised in ways where now that I'm seeing their reactions to by more publicly coming out to them, which are vitriolic and hateful and obscenities and transphobic slurs. But I would get harassed in the boys' room by this, and I just started trying day after day to not go to school because I just was like afraid to go in there, and the teachers didn't do anything. There was no real intervention. It felt like my parents were the people who were going to, sort of stick up for my right to appear how I wanted, and were going to sort of protect me in that space. For a lot of my teenage years, it was often feeling like it wanted to burst through, but it was also something that just didn't talk about with almost anybody. I've spent a lot of time online reading about things.
Their book focused on the white nationalist movement in the U.S., but became an outlet to express personal identity.
And it was while writing the book over the last couple of years where I was becoming much more comfortable being open about gender with people. And at that point, it was like, do I want to describe it? And I did, sort of describing it lightly in the book, but it's one of the things that over the last, year or something, I've become so much more comfortable. And the impact of that has been that I have had the opportunity to talk about gender, and I've been realizing, like, both remarkable that 3 months ago I don't think I would have wanted to or felt like clear about what I wanted to. And now I really appreciate the ability to discuss it. Like, it's something that kind of gives me a lot of joy, actually.
Their parents were horrified by their decision to renounce white nationalism. The family stayed in touch until
hard week.
Until the book came out, released the book and came out as transgender. So they've now been estranged from their family.
Hard week when I surprised them with that letter saying they knew I was withdrawing at that point, but they didn't know how strongly ideologically I was against it. And so they were horrified, and they really did isolate themselves from other people. They had a sense that you just can't be close, you can't be friends with anyone who's not a white nationalist, was something that my mother, lived by. And so the fact that they were willing to maintain a relationship was really huge for them, and it was something I always really appreciated. And so over those years, we've been able to, text and call each other on holidays and birthdays. I visited a few times over the last decade. And I don't think I've had a single conversation in that time where they didn't remind me of how baffled and horrified they are by the fact that I don't believe their ideology. So it's not something we've processed and moved on from. It's still something that lingers for them as this horrible pain. I have never gotten as explicitly vitriolic and cruel messages from them as since I publicly identified as trans. And it's not that I'm exactly surprised, because they're like, leaders of the white nationalist movement. It's kind of what you would expect, I guess. But they're also my parents, who I have cared about and loved and continue to love my whole life, and they have loved me. And to respond with transphobic slurs feels to me, the main thing that comes to my mind is like disappointing. It seems almost stupid.
It is stupid.
It's emotionally gutted me. It's felt awful. It's felt bad. But it's also felt just deeply disappointing. I would have hoped for a lot more curiosity from them.
They're white nationalists.
Thanks for watching.
Shut up, Lester. To expect curiosity from white nationalists is a little much. I know their heart's in the right place, and they want to love their parents. They deserve a titty slap.
Titty slap!
Come on now.
Why people like throwing out slurs? That's a great transition to our next story, where the Pope is apologizing for using a homophobic slur. I'm sorry, I'm laughing my ass off. I want to know what the Pope said. I can't have it, this old frail motherfucker. He used the F slur, didn't he?
Well, Pope Francis is now issuing an apology after reports surfaced that he used a vulgar term during a closed-door meeting with Italian bishops last week. 2 Italian newspapers cited sources inside that meeting who say the Pope used a homophobic slur when telling the bishops not to allow gay men to train for the priesthood. International correspondent.
So he wasn't asking for a cigarette.
With more on the Pope's apology. This is jarring news on multiple fronts here. What did he say? What have we learned? And what's the reaction coming in?
Okay, first of all, this is a closed door meeting with like his inner circle. Then like he's getting stabbed in the back, and there's some kind of politicking going on. So, is there some move to oust the Pope? Something's going on at the Vatican because they sneaky motherfuckers.
Well, we've just had a statement from Matteo Bruni, who is the Pope's official spokesperson in the Vatican.
Fox, good evening.
Pretty briefly that the Pope is aware of these articles, of these media reports in Italian.
I hope the Pope goes on an anti-woke tour and starts talking like the Joe Rogan about how he got canceled.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
He loses the papacy. They oust him somehow and elect a new pope.
In newspapers, also saying something that we hear from the Pope a lot when he's making speeches in public, that in the church there is room for everyone. And then he gets into the apology itself. He says the Pope never intended to offend or express himself in homophobic terms. He extends his apologies to those who felt offended by the use of a term reported by others. Now, reading that statement pretty carefully, what I think stands out is that, yes, while we do have this apology from the Pope via his spokesperson for anybody who might have been...
And how in the fuck the motherfucker dressed like that gonna make some kind of homophobic slur? And as I understand it, there's a lot of cardinals and bishops that are gay.
Offended by the potential use of this.
Look, that motherfucker's gay. You can tell.
The Pope spoke.
Oh, that dude's totally gay.
Actually, admit
that guy's gay. That guy's gay. That guy's gay. That dude's totally gay.
Term that's been reported in Italian.
Look at that gay motherfucker right there.
And again, but yes, thank you for clarifying that, but not denying it is almost the same practical effect as admitting it. And according to the Associated Press, he used a variation of a word that begins with the letter F to typically refer in a derogatory fashion to gay men, which is striking, just the Pope using that kind of language, but two, has a more inclusive reputation than others who've come before him in this job.
Yeah, and I think it's useful to get into the context of when he actually is reported to have used this derogatory term. So, according to these reports that we have in Italian newspapers...
Was Warlord in here? Because he could totally clip that.
On the 20th of May,
me sound really bad.
Recently, when he was meeting with Italian bishops behind closed doors, and they were actually discussing, according to these reports, the
as he is wont
continuing
to do.
opposition. This is a position that he's clarified in the past. His opposition to openly gay men actually being allowed to serve in the priesthood. Now, we do have a major Italian newspaper, the Corriere della Sera, reporting that anonymous bishops telling the newspaper that because the Pope's first language is not Italian, of course he's originally from Argentina, so his first language is Spanish, that he might not have been aware of how offensive the term is that he's reported to have used. But look, I think undoubtedly this is going to undermine the Pope's reputation as someone who over the years has really...
I can't imagine that he doesn't know Italian well enough to know that he was using a slur.
He reached out to the LGBTQ community in terms of, in the early days of his papacy, saying, it's not my place to judge gay people. That was a remark that really went around the world several years ago when he first used it, as well as more recent moves such as allowing priests to bless same-sex couples.
Fascinating story.
Speaking of gaydar,
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
if you're not into the hardcore crime stories, they're coming at you right now. We'll get to the bullshit in about maybe 30, 40 minutes. Got a lot of crime to go over. If you do like the crime, get ready because we got some wild video. But first, I'm going to piss you off. No charges for a deputy who hit and killed a young man by the name of Riley Doggett with his cruiser.
Max, thank you for that. Now, turning back to the death of Riley Doggett, the Kent County prosecutor will not be charging the deputy who hit him, but he will petition a judge to charge another teen involved as an adult. Prosecutor Chris Becker also released dash cam video today showing the moment that Riley was hit. Now, folks, we are going to show that video now. We do want to warn you, some may find it.
You may find it disturbing. Wait, so the cop that hit him and killed him, not going to be charged. Apparently, one of his friends that was there is going to be charged.
Disturbing. Now, this all happened back on April 8th. Investigators say it followed a high-speed chase involving a stolen SUV. We cut at that portion of the impact. It shows the side of the deputy's cruiser that hit Doggett.
God damn.
17-year-old then falls to the concrete. He was hospitalized and died just over a month later on May 9th. Tonight, we have team coverage of this announcement, and we first turn to our Julie Dunmeyer, who has a
How can you not charge him?
Decision. Julie, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Michael, that decision coming down just hours ago that Deputy Josiah McMains will not face charges. It was his vehicle that hit Riley Doggett and those injuries that ultimately resulted in the death of the 17-year-old.
Canine just ran the car trying to get past me.
In newly released video, we can see the car chase between Kent County Deputy Josiah McMains and the driver of this white Land Rover, Riley Doggett, the passenger. Speeds of the chase reach 80 miles an hour on surface roads in Kent County. We don't have the driver's name because they're a juvenile. The Kent County prosecutor, however, charging them.
I have filed charges against the driver, the juvenile driver of the white Land Rover. One count of fleeing and eluding in the first degree. Essentially, that is fleeing and eluding causing death. Okay, we charged him. We've also charged him with CCE, continuing criminal enterprises.
Officer McMains.
Motherfucker.
In my analysis of the law, based on everything I've looked at, I just found no basis to charge the deputy.
Becker saying in his decision that the deputy was traveling at 22 miles an hour when he hit Doggett with his front tire, and that the deputy was trying to go around Doggett to stop him from running.
Bailing out, bailing out. He could have gunned it and went right at him. I mean, that's the thing quite clearly from the video. He could have of, there was nothing stopping him, and he did not do that.
We've played Wood TV before.
Becker says based on his interpretation of
I like Wood TV.
It is struck by the side of the car, caught by the calf, and then falls to the ground violently, saying in his eyes there wasn't sufficient evidence to prove second-degree murder charges, manslaughter charges, or gross negligence.
The evidence, what it appears to, is he caught him with the tire. From his statement, he was trying to cut him off from going into the neighborhoods in the back there.
He ran him over.
Prosecutor Chris Becker does say he plans to charge the juvenile as an adult in this case if he gets permission to do so from a judge. He actually needs to go through a more traditional petitioning method in order to make that a reality. In cases like rape or murder, he's able to automatically charge juveniles as an adult, but that's not the case for these type of charges. So he will be making that request. Family of Doggett, notably, is not happy with this decision. Prosecutor Becker saying earlier today that they wanted the officer charged. Live in Grand Rapids.
Yes!
Fox 17 News.
The cop should absolutely be charged. Yeah, I will tell you that the Wood TV hit wasn't as long. That's why I probably chose the one that I did. Anonymously, good evening. He murdered him with his cruiser indeed. That's one of the things that, I'll look at the clip and try to find the one that has the most detail, the most video for us to watch. Usually. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and it's just whatever is on my front page, what is recommended to me in my news section, which is a lot of as you can imagine, I do this shit every day. A attempted murder suspect apparently led cops on a low-speed bicycle chase. Oh God, they ran him over too.
Attempted murder suspect on a bicycle led LAPD officers on a freeway chase. The Los Angeles Police Department just released video of the incident that happened on April 26th. Officials say they received a 911 call from a person saying they were shot by a family member.
Yeah, he has a weapon on him. I already got shot by him.
An LAPD helicopter spotted a person matching the description of the suspect. The pilot guided officers on the ground towards his location.
Just pull over, man. Just stop. You're not gonna go anywhere, man. Come on.
The suspect rode for about a mile on Interstate 5 with several patrol vehicles behind him.
Just pull to the side, man. Stop already. You're not gonna go anywhere, man. Come on.
Don't go to the freeway on a bicycle.
Southbound 5 to the 110 interchange. When the suspect exited the freeway, police strategized to bring him into custody.
Hit him with the door. Hit him with the door.
Bailey from Mission position. Another police vehicle hit the suspect on his bike, forcing him to the ground.
Oof.
A small caliber firearm was found on the suspect, according to police. The suspect complained of knee pain and was transferred to the hospital. He was then arrested on the charge of attempted murder. Authorities say this is an ongoing investigation.
It's body camera just released.
Inside Edition
of an incident that happened on, what was it, April 24th? April 26th in LA. What is the fuck with bicycles tonight? We've got cops hitting suspects. We've got bicycles involved in multiple stories. A man who murdered a bicyclist regrets his actions. He's going to tell us all about it.
What's
happened in Florida? Oh, my page crashed.
It was also a brutal crime. A local father beaten to death with a tire iron while out for a bike ride on Clearwater Beach. Last week, one of the two men charged with the murder of Jeffrey Chapman changed his plea to guilty and was sentenced to life in prison. But why did he commit the senseless crime? News Channel 8's Alessandra Young spoke with now convicted killer Jermaine Bennett.
Jermaine Bennett will spend the rest of his life in prison for a 2022 murder. I spoke with him today about that night and the actions he says he can never take back. Jeffrey Chapman was a beloved father and friend, a man just trying to enjoy all that Florida has to offer during a bike ride on Clearwater Beach. But that fateful ride in October of 2022 ended in death. Prosecutors say Jermaine Bennett and his suspected partner, Savon Morrison, beat Chapman with a tire iron, killing him. Last week, Jermaine Bennett changed his plea to guilty in the case, receiving a life sentence.
It's going to be a long process. I'm not sure I still quite fathom spending my entire life in prison.
Bennett claims that he knows now that there is no making up for the crime he committed.
Nothing I say is ever going to make it right. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life with that.
But why Jeffrey Chapman? Was there a reason behind Bennett picking him over anyone else? Bennett claims the killing was random, that he could have chosen anyone.
He was just a normal person, just going about his day.
Bennett claimed his personal problems and his anger and frustration drove him to kill.
I don't condone what I did in any way, shape, or form.
But he says that he realizes none of that matters to Jeffrey Chapman's family.
Because no matter what I did, I can't take it back. I apologize to the son. I apologize to the daughter.
He says he regrets what he did every single day.
I want to personally apologize to Alex Chapman, the son. He gave a very powerful speech that I felt it in my heart.
This heinous crime towards a loving father, it will never be forgiven.
The family is still looking for closure, and the co-defendant, Savon Morrison, will have a trial in January of 2025. Bennett says he takes full responsibility and hopes that Morrison does not receive a life sentence too. In Pinellas County, Alessandra Young, 8 on your side.
They said that that was his partner. So perhaps he's trying to get them off the hook by claiming all of the responsibility. I mean, I can't, like, Quesadillas for them interviewing him. I can't blame them. I'm fascinated by that shit. I'd go interview a murderer. I interviewed an attempted murderer one time. I guess he did end up being a convicted murderer. I interviewed an accused murderer. They did end up getting convicted, so I guess I did interview a murderer. Louisiana cops were looking for 2 escaped inmates. They found them hiding behind a dumpster at a Dollar General. Apparently 2 others are still on the loose, but this is as of yesterday. They might have found them. Police say 4 young men slipped past a perimeter fence on Sunday night. The inmates aged 19 to 21 were jailed on weapons and homicide charges. Lord Ian's. What's up, my friend M. Lord? After catching 2 escaped inmates, Louisiana police have launched a frantic manhunt for 2 others who slipped past the perimeter fence at the Amity City Jail. Police say the 4 young men snuck out of the, I'm gonna fuck it up, Tangipahoa Parish Jail during recreation time in the jail yard on Sunday evening. The inmates were named 19-year-old Marion Hookfin, 19-year-old Avery Goodry, 20-year-old Jamarcus Cyprian, and 21-year-old Travon Johnson. Tangpoon. Tangipahoa. I think I got it that time. Tangipahoa Parish. This is in Louisiana. Just before 12 p.m. on local time on Monday, Johnson and Goodry were found hiding in a dumpster behind a Dollar General store on Old Baton Rouge Highway, over 20 miles away from the jail. Torchy, that is a common thing here on the Troll Patrol. Me just absolutely wrecking names of places, people. I'll look up words if I need a pronunciation. They look shocked. This dude doesn't. They look shocked. All 4 men had been jailed on charges pertaining to violent crime. Johnson, Hook, Finn, and Goodrew were incarcerated in connection with a 2022 homicide in Hammond, Louisiana. Hook Finn was also charged with aggravated battery while behind bars in Catahoula Parish. Cyprian, meanwhile, had been jailed over armed robbery and weapons charges. I tried to find my booking photos. I thought for sure the one that I got arrested for in like 2014 I'd be able to find. And I'm smiling like, because it was complete bullshit. And I knew it. And I knew I was getting out of it. So like I'm smiling. My shirt says Nuka Gaywell for Jesus. I might have looked shocked in like my first 2 booking photos when I was like 18. But like back in 2014, the last day, because it was just the absolute most bullshit charge. The cop, when he arrested me, once he puts the handcuffs on, he's like, "Man, your shirt's cracking me up." And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you. I just got done doing stand-up comedy." I was probably really high in that one. But like I was happy. I was smiling. I was cutting up with the guards. It was supposed to be. I was told, because this is fucking cops. Fuck you, cops. It was supposed to be an in and out thing. The gal I was with would follow behind me. They book me in. She gives them the money. I'm in and out in like an hour. That's what it was supposed to be. No. That's not how it works. Apparently, you have to go through a bondsman in this state, which is bullshit. So surely the cop would have known that, so he was fucking with me. So it became an ordeal. I did get out that morning. They tried to say like, "Oh, just go to court and plead out. Just go to court and plead out." I'm like, "Fuck you." I'm getting this thrown out. And I did. And the fucking bullshit is like the bondsman gets to keep the money. You don't get your money back. Like, what the fuck is that shit? Like, that's our fee. Ooh. Fuck you. It's a racket. Yeah, they were just being dicks to me. You might need a bowl for this one. A woman was lucky that some bystanders came out to help her after she was attacked by a man who was following her. This happened in the Bronx.
It's a fight for survival. A woman in the Bronx fought off her attacker with the help of some neighbors.
But that attacker got away, and now police are searching for that person. Newsroom's Melissa Colorado joins us live. Melissa, you spoke with one of the neighbors about what happened over the weekend. What did they say?
Well, Gus, I got to tell you, after spending the entire day here in Woodlawn, this is a neighborhood where people really look out for one another. So when neighbors heard this woman screaming for help at 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning,
it was like a nice neighborhood.
They raced out of their beds, jumped in to help her. Thankfully, she was able to fight off her attacker, and it was all caught on surveillance video. Just before 1:30 a.m. on Saturday, a woman walking in the Woodlawn section of the Bronx had her wireless earbuds in. She's talking on the phone, unaware there's a man behind her, following her every move. Another camera positioned near East Street and Vireo Avenue shows what happens next. The man puts his arm around her and pulls her down to the ground.
That type of aggression to me seemed very premeditated and very violent.
Video shows the woman fighting back and wrestling her way out of his grip.
The minute you hear something out of the ordinary, you act.
Her screams wake up the block.
I think it was a saving grace that the windows were open.
Another camera shows the man running away on Vireo Ontario Avenue.
I think that is the reason the criminal took off and probably saved the girl's life. But she was remarkable.
One neighbor who helped the victim says the attacker didn't try to steal her phone. She believes he tried to sexually assault his victim.
Horrifying. I have a 27-year-old daughter who comes home at night.
Neighbors are sharing the video on social media.
Thank God for the footage, because we wouldn't have known about this, and that scares me.
And asking police to add patrols in this neighborhood before this attacker strikes again.
Woodlawn's tight. We got to keep it that way.
Damn.
Working on tracking this man down, and if you have any information,
the cops are useless.
Police make an arrest in this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That's the latest here in Woodlawn. I'm Melissa Colorado, News 4 New York.
The news stories are probably more useful in catching that perp than any of the police work that the cops will do on the case. Just telling you. It's more likely that dude gets caught because somebody saw that. What the fuck is going on in New York? It's just the biggest city. That's what things likely to happen. And this dude was apparently looking for TikTok fame. He committed an assault, accused in viral TikTok assault. He's given an interview to the local news station. We're hearing the criminal side of the story tonight on the Troll Patrol.
A man accused in random attacks has been indicted on several charges, including assault, and all of them are being considered hate crimes.
One of the alleged victims shared the story of the attack on TikTok. CBS 2's Lisa Roser was in court today and spoke to the suspect.
With a rolling suitcase, Kabuki Stora came to Manhattan.
Fuck this guy.
Requesting he represent himself to protect his rights.
Oh, that's amazing. He's representing himself. We've got to pay attention to this one. I just became infatuated with this story. We're going to follow this one through. Look at this motherfucker.
With a rolling suitcase, Kabuki Stora came to Manhattan Criminal Court requesting he represent himself.
Kabuki Stora? What? I still didn't catch the name. Kabuki Stora?
One of the alleged victims shared the story of the attack on TikTok. CBS 2's Lisa Roser was in court today and spoke to the suspect.
With a rolling suitcase, Kabuki Stora came to Manhattan Criminal Court requesting he represent himself to protect his rights.
Kabuki.
No, ma'am. I'm running for mayor against Eric Adams.
Eventually, the judge granted him permission to.
He's running for mayor. His tie says Kabuki. Holy shit. Skiboky. Skabuki. And he's running for mayor against Eric Adams. I'm in. I'm sold.
Protect his rights.
Have you had any legal training at all? No, ma'am. I'm running for mayor against Eric Adams.
Eventually, the judge granted him permission to ditch his attorney. Stora is accused of striking several people, including this woman at random in late March. Immediately after the incident on 7th Avenue near 17th Street, she went on TikTok.
You guys, I was literally just walking, and a man came up and punched me in the face.
Tuesday, the ADA revealed new info.
The defendant screamed at her, saying, "Watch the out. Watch where you're going." You know, it's a...
Okay, so he wasn't filming it for TikTok. She went on TikTok after she was attacked. I thought this dude was out here trying to be like a social media influencer and was attacking people. But he's trying to clout chase off of Eric Adams. This story has everything. Look at those glasses.
Life individual that would do something like that, ma'am. You know, but I never met this woman a day of my life, ma'am. And she picked somebody else out in the lineup.
She didn't return our request for comment. Tuesday, Stora pleaded not guilty to charges of assault, stalking, and harassment in what the DA says are a series of anti-female, anti-white, and anti-Semitic incidents. The DA says in September 2023 on West 17th Street and 8th Avenue, Stora elbowed a 17-year-old white teen and stated, "You people think you can do whatever the F you want." The next month, he allegedly elbowed a female assistant principal in the same area. And in November, the DA says Stora was tearing down down Israeli hostage posters in Union Square when a Jewish couple noticed he allegedly followed them into a building and yelled, "Die, Jews, die."
What do you have to say about that?
Oh no, I love Jewish people, man. I ripped it off because it was scaring the little kids, them in the community.
Stora says he believes the charges are retaliation for a lawsuit he allegedly filed against Mayor Adams. In this case, Stora is due back in court in August. On the west side, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
I don't know. What do you guys think? There's some kabuki going on with kabuki. Oh, this has been posted since we have been on. We're doing this story right now. This is perfect. If you thought Skabuki looked like a pimp, we've got an actual convicted pimp in Las Vegas who is refusing to be sentenced.
Meantime, a convicted pimp refused.
I didn't know you could do that.
In court this morning. Only our 8 News Now investigators were there as he tried to argue with the judge. Vanessa Murphy has this story that you'll only see here. Now, we do want to warn you, there is content of a sensitive nature in this report.
Look at their 8 News Now investigators. They're so serious.
It's no secret sex trafficking is a major problem, especially here in Las Vegas. Richard Babb's case is an example. Prosecutors say the now convicted pimp victimized 4 teenage girls. He could face 59 years to life in prison, and he is still putting up a fight.
Lock the fucker up.
Richard Babb trying to argue with Clark County District Court Judge Michelle Levitt and also trying to hide from our camera. This was supposed to be the 23-year-old man's sentencing Tuesday morning, but he's blaming his defense attorney, even calling him a monster.
Leaving me dry, leaving me out, just oblivious to everything that's going on in my case.
Defense attorney Ozzie Fumo, appearing here virtually, is a longtime and well-regarded figure in the Las Vegas legal community. Babb has gone through several attorneys. We reached out to Fumo about what unfolded here. He declined to comment. Babb could spend the rest of his life in prison. Prosecutors say his victims include 13 and 14-year-old girls he gave marijuana to in exchange for oral sex after communicating on Snapchat, and 2 15-year-old girls he sex trafficked, asking one to walk the blade, meaning work as a prostitute for him. She testified he dropped her off on Tropicana, a well-known corridor for sex work. She was rescued after Metro Police found her in a car with a John. Babb went to trial, the jury finding him guilty of 10 counts, including trafficking a child, sexual assault with a minor, soliciting a child for prostitution, and more. Judge Levitt agreeing to postpone Babb's sentencing while he remains defiant.
I don't trust that.
Babb is expected back in court on June 6th. Reporting in Las Vegas, Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
Let me hit the content warning again. We got something else that's cool. Not that that last story was cool. That was totally not cool. This one should be fun. This one's fun. We're going to watch a shootout over an attempted Ferrari theft. Happened outside of Chicago, I believe. We've got surveillance video.
Meanwhile, an attempted car theft in the north suburbs ends in gunfire.
Nate Rogers is live in Winnetka with a story including what the homeowner had to say about it. Nate?
Hey, that's right, Tia and Scott. Good evening to the both of you. This homeowner declined to speak to us on camera, but he did give us a play-by-play off camera of exactly what happened here, including how these offenders made it inside of his home, actually made it inside 2 of his vehicles, and how he tells us he was forced to shoot at them in order to protect his family as well as his possessions. Here's surveillance of one of the suspects trying to get past a security gate. The masked man eventually entered the family's home through a front door, which the owner says he forgot to lock. The homeowner telling Fox 32, once inside, the thief removed keys to the family's vehicles. The thief then broke out the garage door window, got inside the victim's Ferrari, driving it out of the garage. The homeowner says he and his wife were awakened when they heard their Ferrari engine sound. The father of 5 daughters tells me he eventually grabbed.
I mean, it is it's very loud. It is a very loud, distinctive noise. If you've never heard a Ferrari engine.
Grabbed his gun.
Good night, Sky Comment. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back.
It happened here in the 400 block of Sheridan Road at 5 this morning. Listen to the shootout from a neighbor's Ring doorbell. The homeowner tells me this was indeed an intense shootout. He says he was within 10 feet from the car thieves. He used this tree to shield himself as they went back and forth. Look at where the bullets hit. There are bullet holes all over. Bullet hole there, a bullet hole there, another bullet hole there.
I like this guy.
Into this tree. All happened within a couple of minutes. Police say 2 of the offenders got away in an Audi. 1 ran away on foot. Fortunately, no injuries. To hear, though, that there was a shootout between one of your neighbors and these thieves, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's disturbing. It's disturbing, but we know we have wonderful police protection, and we have,
fuck the police.
Throughout the day, detectives were seen removing evidence from the property. The homeowner's Ferrari and Range Rover now dusted for fingerprints. Police say it was an isolated incident. So if anything, a takeaway is just
lock your doors, lock your cars, and keep your keys off the counter.
Some chump riding a Segway.
This homeowner tells us that he had another vehicle that was actually stolen from his home just 2 years ago. Now, police tell us in this instance they are looking for 3 suspects, and they continue to ask for neighbors as well as others in the community to release any surveillance images that they have in this case. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on this on air and online. And Winnetka, Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Well, I've said it before, the cops told me they don't catch the good ones. They have a pathetic solve rate. It's something like 40% for violent crimes when people are hurt. Property crimes, it goes down to 20-something%. They don't catch the people who are smart. They catch the people who are fucking dumb. So is that an endorsement to be gay and do crime? Perhaps it might be lucrative for you. Who knows? That's why you have to have a system where it's easy to get ahead and easy to put money back and people can live a good life, and then you don't have to worry about crime goes down. It is criminally low. Fucking cops are useless. Exactly. Crime is looking like a more and more viable income strategy because of the economy that we live in. Go rob rich people who didn't earn their fucking Ferraris. An attempted home invasion scheme was apparently caught on camera. We're out in California. This is in Whittier County.
A Whittier family survives an
Whittier
close call with criminals who attempted to invade their home.
Yeah, the crooks were impersonating workers, but the family just wasn't fooled by it. Chris Wolf joining us live from Whittier. He's got more on the story. Chris?
Yeah, good evening, Rick and Karine and everybody. We have seen deputies on patrol tonight. This is a mixed neighborhood. There are some older folks out here, some young families. We're not far from a high school. People I spoke with say this is typically a very quiet and safe place to live. But what happened Friday night changes everything.
We're
your backyard. Three strangers approach a home in Whittier claiming to be from the gas company. One man is wearing a brightly colored vest. They ask the homeowners for access to the property, saying they have to check meters. But something doesn't feel right, especially given the fact that the men are wearing medical masks and hoodies. Suspicious, the homeowners
totally suspicious.
Inside, and the strangers walk away. The man and two women who were inside emerged to investigate. That's when the hooded figures turn around and race towards their intended victims, the men grabbing at their waists, then pulling guns on the homeowners. The would-be intruders eventually disappear, leaving the household in shock and calling 911. The victims of what appears to be an attempted home invasion robbery are now posting the chilling footage on social media and neighborhood watchdog apps to warn the community. This all happened along Bradwell Avenue on Friday, May 24th, around 7 p.m. Some neighbors are just finding out through KTLA.
I mean, it's very unsettling, just the thought that they would go as far to imitate the gas company, do it, it sounds like during the day. A lot of stuff to really think about. So still processing it, to be honest with you, but
they didn't go all out. I mean, go get you some like jumpsuits and shit, blue work suits.
Definitely a weird, concerning sort of thing that you don't like to hear in your neighborhood.
Let's look at the violent encounter from another angle and another neighbor's security footage. You can see the three strangers retreating down the sidewalk before turning around and chasing down their intended victims. People who live on this street are stunned, saying the neighborhood is typically calm and quiet. One woman tells us she can't even remember the last time law enforcement arrived to answer an emergency call. Everyone is now on high alert.
People will come by with solar options, all sorts of things. So it's kind of got to be something we think about now, especially with my two girls here.
The criminals are described as Hispanic men in their 20s. Always be on high alert if a stranger comes to your door, no matter who they say they are or what they say they are. Be well aware of that. We'll have more throughout the night. For now, reporting live in Whittier, I'm Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
All right, Wolfie, we'll talk to you a bit later.
I set up a gangbang one time, and just the way the girl wanted to go about it seemed like she wanted all the guys to come over first. You know, it kind of seemed like they were gonna try to rob me, so I didn't do it. Kind of wish I had done it. She was hot. It just kind of seemed like a robbery. I was like, this don't feel right. Because, like, you can come over and, like, we can, get everything ready. You can go back into the bedroom and then, like, all the dudes come over. That's cool. We'll do that. Elderly man gets pickpocketed outside of a grocery store.
An elderly man finishes grocery shopping and wheels his cart to the car when all of a sudden a thief snatches up the 93-year-old's wallet from his back pocket.
93?
The man feels something is off and feels his pocket.
That's a lot of bottled water. Maybe that's like Depends or toilet paper or something. Sassy, good evening. Dude got pickpocketed. What? Is this dude with his kid? What the hell is going on here?
The car when all of a sudden a thief snatches up the 93-year-old's wallet from his back pocket.
Happened in Portland.
The man feels something is off and feels his pocket, turning his head to the left, but then keeps on going without seeing the three suspects on his right. When the job is complete, they disperse.
Oh, is that not a kid?
Men police say involved in the pocket-picking scheme then used
the small dude?
hundreds of dollars worth of gift cards at a Fred Meyer supermarket in Portland, Oregon. In this case, caught on camera, you can see one man grabs the wallet while two others stand behind him, with one man wrapping his arm around the other as if it were a father and son walking together.
Yeah, what the?
In the same surveillance video, police
He's just a short motherfucker?
Tactic on a few other unsuspecting shoppers, and believe the same people have done this throughout the Seattle area, and there could be more victims. Anyone who thinks they may have been a victim is urged to call or email and reference this incident. This is Inside Edition Digital.
Nope, that was just posted today. 7 hours ago. They are still looking for where this trio of men, apparently one who was pretending to be a kid. Oh my God. Let's head back up to New York, where a Staten Island drug bust resulted in the arrest of a well-known chef and activist.
Drug raid on Staten Island with a shocking twist. Landed 20 people in custody today. The suspected dealers surprised to see our cameras as the raids went down. And what's more surprising, the alleged mastermind behind this drug mill is a recognized pillar in the community and once was honored for helping those struggling with addiction. News 4's Miles Miller was there for the bust and has the exclusive.
I shouldn't laugh at that.
Thur, who police say was the mastermind behind this drug operation, was given $3 million cash bail or $1 million bond when he went before a judge this afternoon. On Staten Island's North Shore, addiction is a daily battle, with fentanyl poisoning users and police trying to track down the dealers responsible for selling it. It's just after 6 this morning. We're here on Bay Street on Staten Island. You can see that there are detectives here trying to get into this building. It's not just any building. This is Che Vu's Caterers. Only News 4 was there as NYPD narcotics detectives made multiple arrests, hauled out those accused of selling drugs here on Staten Island. Police say are linked to at least 3 overdose deaths. Selling drugs? Yeah. Detectives say the mastermind behind the operation is Ettore Mazzi, the chef and owner of the catering hall. Ettore, you donate money to stop overdoses, but yet you're selling drugs, is that correct? Considered a pillar of the community, even honored in 2022 by the Chamber of Commerce for his revitalization efforts. But police and prosecutors say he was running a drug and pill mill.
It's the overall arrogance of the main subject involved. He hasn't been subject to law enforcement for a long time, and he thought he was never going to get apprehended.
Police arrested 20 people this morning. Mazzi was cuffed last night after he told friends he was planning to leave town, charged with 15 counts of drug possession. Staten Island District Attorney Michael McMahon told News 4 Mazzi exploited vulnerable individuals suffering from addiction. Law enforcement sources say he would get people hooked on cocaine, crack, and...
He did the Gus Fring thing from Breaking Bad. He donated to the police department and had all these programs. But what better way to sell drugs than to people that have addiction issues? It's fucking brilliant. This is one of those don't hate the player, hate the game kind of deals. We've created a society where that's smart capitalism. Jesus. And he used good PR and marketing to make sure that he flew under the radar of the cops. Hats off to him. Hats off to him. And I bet he's a great chef.
District Attorney Michael McMahon told News 4 Mazzi exploited vulnerable individuals suffering from addiction. Law enforcement sources say he would get people hooked on cocaine, crack, and fentanyl and order them to pay him using their food stamps. Those same sources say he gave others places to live, only to turn around and make them sell drugs to pay their rent.
A lot of community complaints. The Staten Island
as grass for cash
problem, overdose problem also.
Many of the other defendants in this case will continue to go before judges this afternoon, and this is not the end of this case. There are federal charges pending. It's the latest at the courthouse in St. George on Staten Island. I'm Miles Miller, News 4 New York.
I shouldn't have as much sympathy as I do for him. Because that is exploitation. Over the weekend in LA, maybe this happened on Friday, a Toyota SUV exploded. You would expect this out of a Tesla, but not a Toyota. A Toyota SUV exploded in a LA parking lot. They're just celebrating the Memorial Day weekend.
Explodes, sending car parts flying and obliterating the vehicle. But the man inside amazingly survives with only minor injuries. That powerful explosion happened last night at a parking lot in Van Nuys, sending shockwaves through the neighborhood.
Rick Chambers is live in Van Nuys with more on the blast and what caused it. Rick.
Yeah, Cher, when you see that video, it is hard to believe that no one was killed or even seriously injured in all of that. But had that happened an hour or two earlier in this busy lot, things could have been much different. It was just before 10:30 last night when this white Toyota SUV suddenly exploded in a Van Nuys parking lot.
Fuck!
Watch it again from a second angle outside the New Life Botanica shop. The eruption shredding the vehicle and sent
you see him moving
directions.
Adentro se había explotado.
Mary Cantorall was in the back of the La Michoacana ice cream parlor nearby and thought that the enormous blast was in the building.
Sí nos asustamos y no nos quisimos acercar más.
She says that she did run outside, but didn't approach the wreckage, fearing that there might be a second explosion.
Holy fuck!
The 37-year-old driver somehow survived the detonation. The dazed and bearded man had no shirt or shoes on when paramedics got there.
Detonation?
For burns and rushed him to a local hospital. An LAFD spokesman says it was butane canisters in the SUV that somehow ignited. Whether the driver, who was apparently living in the SUV, was smoking is unclear. Butane, which is obviously highly flammable, is used in many things, such as lighters and camping stoves. What this man was using it for is unknown, but keeping it there in the vehicle was a near-fatal mistake. Now, we know very little about this.
Toyota.
We know that there were Utah plates on the SUV, so we're figuring that he had recently moved here from
the Highlander.
And it's incredible that the fire department says that his injuries were only moderate and not life-threatening.
That's insane.
Van Nuys. I'm Rick Chambers, guys. I'll throw it back to you in Hollywood.
Rick.
I still don't understand what caused it.
Didn't approach the wreckage, fearing that there might be a second explosion.
It was a Toyota SUV, so it could have been a 4Runner.
Survived the detonation. The dazed and bearded man had no shirt.
Llama, good evening.
When paramedics got there, but treated him for burns and rushed him to a local hospital.
Abattoir.
And
we already did the
butane canisters in the SUV that somehow ignited. Whether the driver,
the trans, I'm not sure what their pronouns were.
Is unclear.
I went with they. I don't know that they knew what their pronouns were. The thing I did not like. I like that we did that story, but I don't feel that NBC did a good job of covering it. They didn't send a reporter out there. They didn't actually sit and talk with them. And I think it could have been a lot better, because it was like they just let them ramble on a Zoom call, and then they just cut it up. And it's like I feel like there was so much more they could have talked about there. And I think NBC dropped the ball on that report, unfortunately. But it's still worth a watch. And they were very interesting. They have a book. And it seems like it's an explosive book.
Flammable is used in many things, such as lighters and camping stoves. What this man was using it for is unknown, but keeping it there in the vehicle was a near-fatal mistake.
Oh, so he had a large amount of butane.
About this driver, we know that there were...
You think he was like what do you call it? Like making honey? Possibly a meth lab? This is California. I don't think you want to make a meth lab in a parking lot. You might have the raw materials, but could you be making oil or something?
Top plates on the SUV, so we're figuring that he had recently moved here from there. And it's incredible that the fire department says that his injuries were only moderate and not life-threatening. In Van Nuys, I'm Rick Chambers. Guys, I'll throw it back to you in Hollywood.
Because we've covered so many stories lately of like people making oils and shit and distilling pot, and like we've had several explosions because of that. The explosion we started off with in Youngstown, that was a construction crew hitting a gas line, and that was wild video. Holy shit. If you're watching on Twitch, we got the bullshit part of the show. When we come back, I'm going to show you a teacher mocking a student. We're going to talk about the crying mom who made a birthday cake for herself. Did you know that ICQ is shutting down? Do you remember ICQ? Uh-oh. I got this dude out in Haywood County. Found a mysterious object that's possibly from outer space. All that and a lot freaking more on the other side of the break. You get your 3 minutes. We get all the commercials out of the way. Clinically still remembers. Holy shit. Weren't ICQ numbers a lot longer than that? You would have to be like very early on to have that short of an ICQ number. God damn. That's what we're going to talk about when we come back on the other side of the break. Here on the Troll Patrol. Live. I feel like mine was like 9 digits. Did they get that high? But I don't remember either, because that's a long fucking time ago. I was just incredible. that was before JustinFREAKIN, but not that. I might have actually been JustinFREAKIN at the end part of ICQ, but I started off as Just Incredible. The JustinFREAKIN moniker came like my senior year. And I had ICQ like my sophomore or junior year or something like that. That's when we got the computer. It's probably 97, 98, something like that. The way I talked my mom into getting a computer, and the reason why my mom knows how to use a computer to this day, is I told her you could get free music. There's this thing called Napster, and you can download songs for free. And she's like, really? And she learned how to use the computer specifically because she could look up old songs. She would memberberry about songs from her past, and she would look them up and be able to find them. Other than that, she probably couldn't do anything else. I think she may be able to do like some taxes or something. Holy shit, would I be able to look up my ICQ? Is that still a thing? Would I be able to find out what my ICQ number was? I do not have that email address. It is the same email address. My freaking address. It's what I currently have. but it's a different exchange because it's like when we first signed up, we were on MSN and we all got like free email, fucking blah blah blah. So like it was my freaking address at msn.com, and I do not have access to that anymore. I don't even think it's a thing. So I'm not sure I could even sign into ICQ. What's up, Smokey? Oh shit. Come on, buddy. Oh shit, did I not have the microphone off? I'm sorry, he's been like hitting the mic the whole time. Everybody back from commercial. Still trying to figure out what my ICQ number is. I don't even know. I don't know what browser I had. I've got so many browsers up. I don't know where it went. There it is. Oh shit, would it have been my freaking address? Cause was I freaking? Yeah, profile not found. I wouldn't know what my first email address was. Who fucking knows what that was? I don't. Can I type in the username? There's no finding me. Everybody's back from commercial, right? Yeah, fucking a lot of those like Earthlink or CompuServe, like those shits aren't. They're not in business anymore, are they? They used to send out those little discs. Like get 40 hours of free internet. C19. What's going on, my friend? Literally H1V. I like to say everybody's name with my radio voice. I'm gonna be. Yeah, exactly. Fucking 30 years ago. It's kind of hard to remember that shit. I'm 40 goddamn years old now. I guess ICQ was probably when I was about 15, 14, somewhere along there. Back when I was in school. Speaking of school, this elementary teacher apparently caught on video mocking students. I gotta have context because the student might have deserved mocking.
So don't even think about that you're not going to do work. Do you understand? There's a Quiet!
New at 6 o'clock, parents in Santa Ana are horrified with the teacher's alleged behavior towards special needs students.
Oh my God.
Are now taking action against the school district after a video surfaced showing the teacher apparently mocking the kids.
Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher is live in the newsroom with reaction. Michelle?
Ellen and David, we spoke with the attorney representing those families and a mother. They say it's not the first time this teacher has been accused of mistreating her students.
What?
Disturbing footage inside Santa Ana's Carver Elementary School. The teacher of this mixed 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade class for severe autism, tapping scissors on a desk as she confronts a student.
The problem is that the school district was well aware for many, many years that this teacher
had been verbally abusing, neglecting the special needs children of the community.
Attorney Thur says threats of legal action several years ago led Santa Ana Unified to relocate the teacher to Carver. He now represents 6 families with children in her current class. One of the students accidentally recording a half a day's worth of iPad footage that has now led to an investigation.
One of the mothers who was suspicious
they pulled a Catholic church
in the classroom reviewed the videotape and then shared it in the close-knit community.
Angelica Garola's 9-year-old son, who is nonverbal, seen here in this shocking clip.
Horrifying. And what she's like, that's like Ricky's shirt from Trailer Park Boys. Exactly, that's Dustin, exactly. Like, what the fuck? That's like the church does.
Me rompió profundamente el corazón como madre. Al recordarlo me duele, me seguirá doliendo.
Garola fighting back tears. As a mother, it deeply broke my heart. It hurts when I remember it. It will continue to hurt, she says.
To me, it's not mimicking. To me, it's bullying.
The teacher, Garola, says
it is bullying,
verbal regression, and troubling changes in her son's behavior.
Assault.
Estaba en medio de la noche llorando y mencionaba teacher, teacher.
He would wake up crying in the middle of the night, saying teacher, teacher, she recalls. Tonight, the Santa Ana Unified School District releasing a statement responding to the claim, saying in part, the safety and well-being of our students are our highest priorities.
Bullshit.
We have initiated a thorough and comprehensive investigation into the incident and will take all necessary actions based on our findings. Garola now calling for the teacher and the school's principal to be removed.
Yes!
And the attorney says if action isn't taken, they will move forward with filing a lawsuit. The children currently have a substitute teacher.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great.
Thank you, Mark. I'm down with Mark Brown. Fuck that teacher. There are plenty of, we need to pay teachers more because there are plenty of compassionate and loving people out there that would be happy to take care of special needs children. That's not one of them. Did you see the viral video last week? Of the crying mom who was making her own birthday cake. I shared it out on my Facebook and made a joke about it because it was getting ready to be my birthday. My birthday was yesterday. I was planning on making my own cake. I didn't have to. Curiouser made me a fantastic chocolate raspberry cheesecake. It is. I had a piece right before the show. It's fucking insane. She went viral crying over making like a boxed fucking Betty Crocker cake. Crying mom who went viral for baking video slams her ex for sharing her dark past. Like this is gonna take a wild turn here, guys. Elizabeth Teckenbrock, 29, is responding to her ex-husband, who we're gonna hear respond to her original video. The mom who went viral for sobbing as she baked a birthday cake. This is the original video here. She's just a fucking clout chaser. The widow darling. Fucking holy shit. Where's the video at? That's the response. This is the original. I gotta kill the audio. She's just a clout chaser. Being a single mom is making your own birthday cake on your birthday so that your babies can feel happy they are singing to you. I'm not sure if that was her birthday cake. That might have been something else that rolled over. So, of course, she's from Florida. She went viral after sharing a clip on TikTok showing the difficulty of being a single parent, which amassed more than 53 million views. In response, her ex-husband, Andrew Comier, 37, made a series of bombshell claims. This is the whole video? God damn it. He didn't take it down, did he? The dark past of a mother who went viral with her heartbreaking video of her sobbing as she baked her own birthday cake has been revealed. It's Elizabeth Tackenbrock. Her ex-husband, Andrew Comier, 37, made a series of bombshell claims in response to her video and said he is in full custody of their 2 young girls. She barely sees them, and she goes out all the time. He alleged she was previously arrested for fraud, and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office confirmed Teckenbrock was taken into custody in August 2023 on third-degree grand theft and cash or deposit item with intent to defraud. There's her mugshot. Nothing wrong with that, as we know from past episodes of the Troll Patrol. Kind of turned on by women that are, you know, exhibiting criminal behavior. Call me Taylor Shabusiness. Comier responded to his ex-wife in his own video on the platform on Friday, made a series of bombshell allegations. Right now I have full custody of our kids. This is our parent agreement. As you can see, I have all weekdays and weekends, time sharing with the kids on holiday academic breaks. People that follow her are giving her praise and showing them, telling her how strong and how amazing she's doing well. She's really not a full-time mom. She barely has her kids. She goes out all the time. So I do have her video. Apparently his video had been taken down, or I needed to sign into TikTok to have access to it. This is her response. I want to have sympathy, but also hate that, like, you know, mental illness is not a get out of jail free card. Yep, that's on me, isn't it? Because I had to turn it down for other TikTok that had music. Ah, fuck.
I think that it's getting important that I discuss some things about me as a person. Now that I have gained a decent amount of followers, and I don't...
I'm just giving her more clout, aren't I?
Having a misinterpretation of, like, who I am as a person, especially if you're following me. I posted those videos to defend myself.
Oh yeah, this isn't the same video. I don't want this. God, how much has she been posting? I give up. I don't even care. Fuck her and crying about her cake. Everybody's more interested in the ICQ story. I got one more. I got one more for the ICQ story. This one should be interesting. I'm sorry. We're getting a man who believes he has stumbled upon an object that could be from outer space. I can get it full screen. Here we go.
Haywood County man is sharing his story after just discovering a strange object that he thinks may be from outer space.
And so far, the object has not been inspected by aerospace experts, but the discovery has a lot of people scratching their heads. News 13's Mark Liverman explains.
I'm just shocked as to what it was.
Kind of hard not to be, especially when you find something like this along a very remote Canton trail.
Once in a lifetime. You know, it don't happen every day.
But it did happen to Justin Klontz when he and a coworker found it. Burnt carbon fiber dotting the surface, heavy-duty pieces and plates of metal, held together with what look like thick bolts. Justin was working his job doing grounds maintenance at Glamping Collective in Haywood County. He walked about half a mile down this trail when his friend pointed it out.
We don't.
Haywood, did you blow me?
We just know that it's not from up here.
I just want to give you an idea of how big this object is. I stand at about 5'10", and you can see this thing comes.
You little motherfucker.
Past my waist. It's heavy duty. You can see all the reinforcements, the bolts, the carbon fiber, and then check this out. Look how thick this material is.
Oh, apparently 5'10" is like what average men are. I always thought it was 6 foot. I always thought I was just an average height motherfucker over in here. But apparently y'all out here are short. So apparently he's not even a little motherfucker. He's just an average height motherfucker walking around over here. And I'm like, you're little. So sorry about that.
Through the middle, almost an inch thick. The object's weight.
You little short motherfucker.
Justin had to
little stumpy thing.
I just tied a rope to it and drug it out with the lawnmower. That's just a 1 in a million chance. Yeah. That it lands, especially if it landed somewhere off the trail in the woods, you'd never found it. But it just happened to land on the trail.
So what is it, and how did it even get here?
I looked up in the trees and stuff, and it just landed perfectly in the trail and then through an opening in the woods.
So none of the trees or leaves around it looked like they had caught fire or anything like that?
No.
A piece of debris this big, you'd figure someone would have at least heard it land. There's gonna be some kind of a sound, you would assume.
Not up here. Once you get...
It could have been something he made.
Nothing in the woods.
Glamping Collective's owner plans on reaching out to aerospace experts to figure out what this thing is and where it came from. Until then, this just remains a mystery in the mountains. In Canton, Mark Liverman, News 13.
A local Dairy Queen. How well he handled a meltdown. A customer was allegedly upset because her blizzard wasn't frozen enough.
Oh,
The woman goes inside to confront the workers. Employees say that's when she began dumping her ice cream behind the counter. Local 12's Paige Barnes joins us now with that video.
Do not do that to workers.
Reaction, Paige.
Guys, the video of the woman and the employee is getting people talking. She's being called the DQ Karen online. This happened at the Hamilton Middletown Road location. The customer can be seen talking with one of the employees who appears to be calming the confrontation. We visited the store and learned that man, he's a teenager.
A Dairy Queen customer couldn't keep her cool after she claims her blizzard was watery. One of the customers who witnessed it says the employee handled the situation as best as he could, apologizing to the woman.
As she's explaining it, she goes, "Does this look like this should be a blizzard?" and takes it and just dumps it onto the floor.
Smith caught the 2-minute altercation on
it is
camera.
supposed to
He
stay.
says after she dumped the ice cream, he pulled out his phone, worried it would escalate. You can see the customer turn her hand over like she's holding a blizzard. The woman continues, saying it's been a rough day, and the teen even offers her a refund.
Everything that came out of this young man's voice was,
"Oh, she apologized.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Ma'am, we'll take care of this."
Smith says he went up to the teen after to see if he was okay and congratulate him on keeping his cool. The teen explained his parents taught him to treat everyone with kindness regardless of their background.
Kindness should be met with kindness, and not the way this lady handled it. All right, so
she apologized. Did you not see that? I don't even know that this should have been covered because she didn't really make a scene or anything. She's like, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that." She might have not even been like, meaning to. She's just dumping it like, turning it over the way that's what they do that. They're supposed to do that. It is kind of douchey. But, like, if she's remorseful about it and shit, like, this shouldn't have been a news story. It was a slow news day wherever the fuck this happened. Hey, would you blow me? I didn't know ICQ was as popular as what it is, apparently. I just got some really nerdy people in chat. ICQ is shutting down after almost 28 years. I didn't know it was still a thing. This is like one of those things when you find out a celebrity's still alive and you're like, I thought they died 10 years ago. Your ICQ number is finally shuffling off to the great beyond. Russian company VK, which has been the service's steward since 2010, published a message on Friday that simply reads, ICQ will stop working from June 26th and implores users to switch to its other chat solutions. ICQ is among the crop of early instant message services like AOL Instant Messenger or MSN Messenger that allowed for real-time chats. It differed from others by assigning users a number they would use to connect to one another, as opposed to aliases or email addresses. It also had uncommon features like SMS messaging and the ability to message people who were offline. And of course, those of us of a certain age probably remember the I didn't do it well. I still don't think I hit the right note. Sorry, it was something like that. Like, I totally remember using it, and you would hit people up that you didn't know, and you would be like, age, sex, location, ASL. What a weird time that was. The yeah, I did not. That's a lot better. That alert would play when you received a message. ICQ was started in 1996 by an Israeli company, Mirabilis, which AOL bought in 1998. ICQ grew to 100 million registered users. I do remember Hot or Not. I'm ashamed to say I played a lot of Hot or Not. I was totally on there. Clinically wants the sound. There you go. I totally did not do it justice. The modern version of ICQ appeared to have worked and functioned like other messenger apps, such as WhatsApp or Telegram. Or so I gathered from a March 2023 Internet Archive snapshot of its iOS app store listing, as the app apparently is gone from both Apple's Digital Shop and Google's Play Store. I've got a cat going inside of like the little cubby hole in my desk here. Come on, buddy. Andy ended up fucking jumping down. Oh, I had a lot of fun times on ICQ. I had a lot of people that I ended up dates, hooking up, all fucking ICQ was the shit at first. I have no clue what messenger app. Jason Society, welcome in. We were just covering that ICQ is getting ready to shut down on June 26th. How many of you had the ICQ app? It wasn't even an app. It was just a fucking. I guess it was an early form of an app, wasn't it? Because it was like a executable download. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're member bearing out on old school times. You haven't used it in 10 years. I haven't used it in fucking like since like probably 2003 maybe. A good 20 years. I couldn't even tell you what did MySpace have some kind of messenger or something? Ducky. Yeah, but around 20 years is when it faded out. I feel like MySpace was the thing that like replaced it. And it had its own messenger thing. I think. I don't remember exactly. So you're still using ICQ in 2004. I never really, no one around, like the different messengers were like a regional thing, and everybody around here used ICQ. I didn't really have a lot of contacts that were on AIM, on the AOL Instant Messenger app. I keep wanting to call it an app, but like app wasn't a word or a term back then, was it? But that's kind of what it was, like a desktop app. I didn't really have any contacts on MSN. I was really wrapping shit up, guys, but like since Jason raided in, do you want to go back and cover like 3 or 4 like the craziest videos we watched? Because holy shit, I could totally watch the explosion in Youngstown. God damn. A lot of you weren't here for that at the beginning of the show. A construction crew apparently hit a gas line in Youngstown, Ohio. Building's probably going to have to come down because it is insane.
And with breaking news in Youngstown, Ohio, an explosion at a building in the heart of that city.
Want to get right to KDK's Barry Pintar, who is there talking to people. Barry, what are you hearing?
Yeah, it's a very active situation here in Youngstown. It was just about 3 hours ago, right around 3 p.m., that literally the entire building behind me blew out. Let me give you a close look. I'm going to have Damien zoom right in so you can look right into this building. What you're looking at is a Chase Bank at the bottom of what's known as the Realty Building. As you can see, that entire first floor is blown out. Now, also, if you'll notice above that, that is a 13-story building.
No confirmed fatalities as of this evening when this news report aired. This is what we started off the show with. But we do have one person unaccounted for. So if there is a fatality, that's your guy right there. So if you guys aren't subbed, I'm JustinFREAKIN. We find out what that news be doing Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll give you, we're getting ready to sign off, but I'll give you guys a little recap of all the different shit we talked about, because we watched some fucking wild videos tonight.
That is an apartment building where people were living at the time. We also have our drone team here, the KDK drone team. Let's take that video because you're able to see from the air exactly what a blowout it is. Notice the sidewalk. Notice all of the windows are.
Let's get high, too.
Notice that the emergency personnel are still there. Okay, so what is the situation and what do we think happened? According to our sister station, our CBS station here, it is our understanding that they were doing construction in the basement. The construction workers heard a hissing sound, smelled gas.
Oh shit, got punked. Thank you for the sub.
At that point, the
DJ Dub, give it up the gift sub.
Explosion was so powerful that it was apparently felt and heard all over this entire downtown area. What you're looking at is Federal Street there, where it actually occurred. There are apartment buildings nearby. There are office buildings nearby. There is a hotel right across the street. Now, how is everyone doing? The good news, no fatalities reported at this time. Unfortunately, the bad news, Several people were transported to the hospital via ambulances. We don't have updates at that point. But at this moment, what I'd like you to do is listen to some of those construction workers who were actually on the site during that explosion.
I'm just glad everybody got out. And I hope everybody that didn't get out, they're safe or they're not hurt.
A lot of emotions right now because one of my friends was in the bank across the street and he went in to grab people, and I don't know, haven't seen him since.
Are you on me? All right, so here's the bad news. We're literally getting live updates as I'm talking to you here. We now know that 7 people were taken to the hospital. Tragically, at this point, 1 person is unaccounted for. Now, we were the first Pittsburgh news stations to arrive on the scene, and when we got here, we were still hearing sirens going, and they have every single downtown street blocked off by city dump trucks so people can't come in. As a matter of fact, there were some people standing a little closer than we were, and the policeman actually came up to them and asked them to move because they're not sure of the structure of the building. So where does that leave us now? At this point, we know the bomb has been called out. We do know that structural engineers have been called out. This will be a very active, fluid situation as there are emergency vehicles everywhere. Now, we certainly have you covered here. My colleague Jennifer Barrasso is on her way here. We are going to keep you updated online and on air with continuing coverage because, look, Megan and Ken, as we know, as Pittsburghers, we have experienced some tragic gas explosion events. This is in the middle.
There's something going on outside of my apartment.
Surrounded by buildings.
There's a bunch of cops out front.
Structural engineers are here. We don't know what will happen next, but very active. We will keep you posted, and the minute we hear anything else, we will report.
I don't think they're.
In the meantime,
they're real cops. It's like rent-a-cops.
Barry Pintar, KDK TV News. Back to you guys.
They're not here. I don't think they're here for me. I didn't do anything. Let's. Ooh, do you want to do the attempted murder suspect that got hit by the cops? Took a wild tumble.
An attempted murder suspect on a bicycle led LAPD officers on a freeway chase. The Los Angeles Police Department just released video of.
Well, there has been something going on. I've heard sirens all night. So, like, shit been going down in my town. But it's apparently come to my doorstep now. I don't exactly know what's going on. I'm just over here doing my thing. Ogie's over here checking it out, seeing what's going on.
The incident that happened on April 26th. Officials say they received a 911 call from a person saying they were shot by a family member.
Yeah, he has a weapon on him. I already got shot by him.
An LAPD helicopter spotted.
Well, I've been saying it wrong. It's attempted murder suspect. Yeah, we got raided in by Jason Society over on Twitch. So I was like, let's show the best of the night. And everybody gets a taste of what the Troll Patrol is.
The description of the suspect. The pilot guided officers on the ground towards his location.
Just pull over, man. Just stop. You're not gonna go anywhere, man. Come on.
The suspect rode for about a mile on Interstate 5 with several patrol vehicles behind him.
Just pull to the side, man. Stop already. You're not gonna go anywhere, man. Come on.
811 is fully impossible. Shooting suspect, southbound 5, towards the 110 interchange.
When the suspect exited the freeway, police strategized to bring him into custody.
Hit him with the door. Hit him with the door.
Hit him. That's not cool.
Bailey from mission position unit.
Another police vehicle hit the suspect on his bike, forcing him to the ground.
A red-tailed fox? Those things are beautiful.
A small caliber firearm.
They're also vicious.
Suspect, according to police. The suspect complained of knee pain and was transferred to the hospital. He was then arrested on the charge of attempted murder. Authorities.
I don't want to say vicious.
Ongoing investigation.
They wily, you know, like a fox.
Inside Edition Digital.
I think I showed it as her animal video one night. Dude tried to feed a fox, and it came up and bit his finger. This one is wild. A Bronx woman got attacked while she was walking home.
Or it's a fight for survival. A woman in the Bronx fought off her attacker with the help of some neighbors.
But that attacker got away, and now police are searching for that person. News 4's Melissa Colorado joins us live. Melissa, you spoke with one of the neighbors about what happened over the weekend. What are they saying?
Well, Gus, I got to tell you, after spending the entire day here in Woodlawn, this is a neighborhood where people really look out for one another. So when neighbors heard this woman screaming for help at 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning, they raced out of their beds, jumped in to help her. Thankfully, she was able to fight off her attacker.
Boom, Discord link.
Caught on surveillance video.
Just before 1:30 a.m. on Saturday, a woman walking in the Woodlawn section of the Bronx had her wireless earbuds in. She's talking on the phone, unaware there's a man behind her, following her every move. Another camera positioned near East 235th Street and Vireo Avenue shows what happens next. The man puts his arm around her and pulls her down to the ground.
That type of aggression to me seemed very premeditated and very violent.
Video shows the woman fighting back and wrestling her way out of his grip.
The minute you hear something out of the ordinary, you act.
Her screams wake up the block.
I think it was a saving grace that the windows were open.
Another camera shows the man running away on Vireo Avenue.
I think that is the reason the criminal took off and probably saved the girl's life. But she was remarkable.
One neighbor who helped the victim says the attacker didn't try to steal her phone. She believes he tried to sexually assault his victim.
Horrifying. I have a 27-year-old daughter who comes home at night.
Neighbors are sharing the video on social media.
Thank God for the footage, because we wouldn't have known about this, and that scares me.
And asking police to add patrols in this neighborhood before this attacker strikes again.
Woodlawn's tight. We got to keep it that way.
It's still in the loose.
Police still working on tracking this man down, and if you have any information that can help police make an arrest in this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That's the latest here in Woodlawn. I'm Melissa Colorado, News 4 New York.
Yeah, we like to cover crime stories here. This one, I'm fascinated by the personality involved. I don't know what to think about the story. We're definitely going to watch this again. Shibuki? Was that what I figured out his name was? Shibuki. Hold on, fasten your seatbelts for this one.
Random attacks has been indicted on several charges, including assault, and all of them are being considered hate crimes.
One of the alleged victims shared the story of the attack on TikTok. CBS 2's Lisa Rosser was in court today and spoke to the suspect.
With a rolling suitcase, Kabuki Stora came to Manhattan Criminal Court requesting
his tie says Skibuki, Skiboky.
he represent himself to protect his rights.
Have you had any legal training at all?
No, ma'am. I'm running for mayor against Eric Adams.
Eventually, the judge granted him permission to ditch his attorney. Stora is accused of striking several people, including this woman at random in late March. Immediately after the incident on 7th Avenue near 17th Street, she went on TikTok.
You guys, I was literally just walking, and a man came up and punched me in the face.
Tuesday, the ADA revealed new info.
The defendant screamed at her, saying, "Watch the out. Watch where you're going."
You know, it's a low-life individual that would do something like that, ma'am. You know, but I never met this woman a day of my life, ma'am, and she picked somebody else out in the lineup.
She didn't return our request for comment. Tuesday, Stora pleaded not guilty to charges of
Kabuki.
stalking and harassment in what the DA says are a series of anti-female, anti-white, and anti-Semitic incidents. The DA says in September 2023 on West 17th Street and 8th Avenue, Stora elbowed a 17-year-old white teen and stated, "You people think you can do whatever the F you want." The next month, he allegedly elbowed a female assistant principal in the same area. And in November, the DA says Stora was tearing down Israeli hostage posters in Union Square when a Jewish couple noticed. He allegedly followed them into a building and yelled, "Die, Jews, die."
What do you have to say about that?
Oh no, I love Jewish people, man. I ripped it off because it was scaring the little kids, them in the community.
Stora says he believes the charges are retaliation for a lawsuit he allegedly filed against Mayor Adams. In this case, Stora is due back in court in August. On the West Side, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
I kind of like him. I don't know how to feel about this. There's the possibility he could be framed. I'm holding out judgment. Footage of a wild home invasion in Whittier. Yeah, got Punk. I agree. We need more information here.
Family survives an alarming close call with criminals who attempted to invade their home.
Yeah, the crooks were impersonating workers, but the family just wasn't fooled by it. Chris Wolf joining us live from Whittier. He's got more on the story. Chris?
Yeah, good evening, Rick and Karine and everybody. We have seen deputies on patrol tonight. This is a mixed neighborhood. There are some older folks out here, some young families. We're not far from a high school. People I spoke with say this is typically a very quiet and safe place to live. But what happened Friday night changes everything. Three strangers approach a home in Whittier claiming to be from the gas company. One man is wearing a brightly colored vest. They ask the homeowners for access to the property, saying they have to check meters. But something doesn't feel right, especially given the fact that the men are wearing medical masks.
He's on my mouse.
Suspicious, the homeowners refuse to let them inside, and the strangers walk away. The man and two women who were inside emerged to investigate. That's when the hooded figures turn around and race towards their intended victims, the men grabbing at their waists, then pulling guns on the homeowners. The would-be intruders eventually disappear, leaving the house.
Hold on. Get your cat. He was laying on my rolling tray across my fucking mouse. I got cat hair all over my face now. That's my smoky bong. Socrates that's on the couch right there. You can barely see him. He's a tuxedo. And there's Maynard James Kitten. There's Maynard James Kitten over here in the chair. And apparently all the cops are rolling out. And he lives up to his namesake. He's he's a loner. He has his own bedroom in there. He's very particular. The other two sleep with me as much as I sleep. Maynard is a morning cat. Gets up, gets a lot of work done. Comes in here, meows at me. Loves to drink fruit. Takes showers with me. Maynard takes showers with me. Loves to get in the bathtub and play in the water. He's laying right here. I should go get him. Let's get Maynard. also small and chunky. Like when I say small, like he's not small. Like he is a fat. It's kind of deceptive. It's kind of muscle. Packed on the pounds. But he's small in stature, right? Like. Small, chunky buddy. Very upset. Yeah, I went to the Curiouser got me this Perfect Circle shirt. I guess she got it for me because when we were at the we went to the Santa show with Primus and a Perfect Circle and Pussifer. Fantastic fucking show. And I was talking about like how like I only had the Tour a Perfect Circle shirt. I wanted to get like one of their other designs, but I ended up getting this Santa shirt. So whatever I've got the Tour shirt from whatever the last tour was, or I think tour before last I saw him. So she got me this for her birthday. It was awesome. Yeah. Now Maynard's over there picking on Smokey. Yeah, all my cats are rescues. Because he was named Maynard. I added on the Maynard James Kitten, right? Like, but he was named Maynard. And I'm like, well, the universe wants me to have him. So that's how he ended up with me. And I've had him 5 years now. The other two I've had 8, 9 years. Love you, fuckers. Socks was the oldest. I got him at 5, and then Smokey was like 2, and Maynard was 2 when I got him. But they're all getting old now. They're my old men. Socks, you're what? You're about 14? Goddamn. He's still spry. He jumps from the counter over to the couch and shit. I want to take care of babies that have nowhere else to go. I probably shouldn't have had a third cat, but like he needed a place and his name was Maynard, and I'm like, we'll make it work, and we have. I didn't think he was gonna work because he was really mean to the other cats, and he's still kind of like, they don't necessarily get along, but they keep their distance. Did you join the Discord? If you join the Discord, you need puppy pictures. We have an animal, so we have music, we got animals, we got memes, all kinds of different channels you can join in. And then the main troll chat, Warlord will keep you up on all the news. Mary Jane been doing a good job of dropping in content and shit everybody needs to check out. Let's go back to this wild video where the robbers tried to pull a home invasion.
3 strangers approach a home in Whittier claiming to be from a gas company. One man is wearing a brightly colored vest. They ask the homeowners for access to the property, saying they have to check meters. But something doesn't feel right, especially given the fact that the men are wearing medical masks and hoodies. Suspicious, the homeowners refuse to let them inside, and the strangers walk away. The man and 2 women who were inside emerged to investigate. That's when the hooded figures turn around and race towards their intended victims, the men grabbing at their waists, then pulling guns on the homeowners. The would-be intruders eventually disappear, leaving the household in shock and calling 911. The victims of what appears to be an attempted home invasion robbery are now posting the chilling footage on social media and neighborhood watchdog apps to warn the community. This all happened along Bradwell Avenue on Friday, May 24th, around 7 p.m. Some neighbors are just finding out through KTLA.
I mean, it's very...
Wild video. That's what we do here. We cover the most absurd news, politics, and current events on the internet. This was the craziest story we did tonight. It's always hard to pick a craziest story because we do so many goddamn just insane stories. This is the video that's going to blow your mind.
An SUV suddenly explodes, sending car parts flying and obliterating the vehicle. But the man inside amazingly survives with only minor injuries. That powerful explosion happened last night at a parking lot in Van Nuys, sending shockwaves through the neighborhood.
Rick Chambers is live in Van Nuys with more on the blast and what caused it. Rick.
He survived minor injuries.
It's hard to believe that no one was killed or even seriously injured in all of that. But had that happened an hour or two earlier in this,
I can smoke now that the cops are gone.
Could have been much different.
Do that. I put my bong
It
up.
was just before 10:30 last night when this white Toyota SUV suddenly exploded in a Van Nuys parking lot. Watch it again from a second angle outside the New Life Botanica shop.
I guess he really wants my attention.
And sending shrapnel in all directions.
Adentro se había explotado.
Mary Cantorall was in the back of the La Michoacana ice cream parlor nearby and thought that the enormous blast was in the building.
Sí nos asustamos y no nos quisimos acercar más.
She says that she did run outside, but didn't approach the wreckage, fearing that there might be a second explosion. Amazingly, the 37-year-old driver somehow survived the detonation. The dazed and bearded man had no shirt or shoes on when paramedics got there, but treated him for burns and rushed him to a local hospital. An LAFD spokesman says it was butane canisters in the SUV that somehow ignited. Whether the driver, who was apparently living in the SUV, was smoking is unclear. Butane, which is obviously highly flammable, is used in many things, such as lighters and camping stoves. What this man was using it for is unknown, but keeping it there in the vehicle was a near-fatal mistake.
Now, we know very little about this driver. We know that there were Utah plates on the SUV, so we're figuring that...
Hose 77 today. What's going on, my friend?
It's incredible that the fire department... His injuries were only moderate and not life-threatening. In Van Nuys, I'm Rick Chambers. Guys, I'll throw it back to you in Hollywood.
Rick, thank you.
It was a holiday yesterday for me, since it was my birthday. You guys like raccoons? I like raccoons. Thank you, Got Punk. I think raccoons are awesome because like they're just little menaces. They're just out here creating mischief. Oh, I like your chatting. But if you act up in here, you might get a titty slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
I enjoy watching all animals eat. They're all cute. Smash! He stole some Twizzlers. I like them just because they're troublemakers. Any animal out here causing trouble. You know that little dude? Did he just bust in? Fuck that fish up. I want a raccoon. I want a domesticated raccoon. I feel like if you raised one around cats, it would just think it's a little cat. It'd act like a cat. Will you turn on the sprinkler? Motherfucker out here, turn on the sprinkler. There's not enough cartoons about mischievous raccoons. Just got Smokey hanging out here on my desk, like wanting me to pay attention to him. And the shitty part is, I'll go over there on the couch. He won't want to fucking lay with me. I'm like, come on, buddy. He won't want to get up there. Maynard lays with me now. Took him 5 years to lay with me, but Maynard will come and lay. How'd he even get up there? What's he doing? It looked like he grabbed some plastic. He didn't even grab any food. Like how this one just goes up and like bites somebody on the leg. If you are watching on Twitch, you're heading over to Echoplex Media. I will be back on Thursday night. Starting June 2nd, we're back 5 nights a week. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. I'll see you Thursday night on the Troll Patrol live.